Hello, konnichiwa, hola everyone, welcome to the stream. Hold on, I'm a little bit loud on my ears. There we go. Welcome, my name is Leo. I'm your resident demi-vampire singer and professional simp, and today we're hopefully finishing It Gets So Lonely here. We have one route left, so without further ado, let us get started, shall we? Okay, I think this was my last save file. So, just a little recap. This game is about a girl who's running away from someone, we don't know who. The narrator likes to comment on her life, on her decisions, what she's experiencing, and make snarky remarks about it. And so far, like while you're running, you reach a point where you have to choose a path, and you can choose one out of three. The first one was a castle, where we ended up being eaten alive by a cannibal princess. The second one was I forgot the word. The yes, the shore. The second one was the shore, and we met a mermaid who was really pretty, and then she drowned us. And now we only have one option left, which is the village. So that's where we're going. And I found this picture of the thumbnail of the girl with the shovel. And since we've never seen her, I'm just assuming that she's the one that we find at the village, and that based on past experience, she's probably gonna bury us alive. Oh. I'm back. Dogo wanted to go out the room. Anyway, so now we're choosing the village, and let's see what happens. So, you want to go to the village? Good idea. Let us see what further trials await you there. Hello, Khan, welcome. The intrusive thoughts have arrived and are ready to be betrayed. Indeed. And it's also definitely not plotting anything. Sus. Anyway. Then this night is far from over, as much as you might wish it was, and there is still much and more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. Me too, narrator. Me too. You follow the path which leads to the village, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs, which feel ready, at a moment's notice, to snap at a knee beneath the burden of your weight. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. I can relate to that. My soles were screaming at me yesterday. Today they're better. But yeah, we're done. Yeah, probably. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a suitable residence in which to rest at the village. You do not know what will await you at the village, but you have visions, as you run, of a quaint, scenic settlement, all thatched cottages with sloping roofs. Surely there will be a kindly peasant who will be willing to put up a young runaway up for a few nights. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly peasant from the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. She will be broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced, with dull brown hair, crammed beneath a cap. Her arms will be sturdy from many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she will be kind to you, and compassionate, just like a mother. You do not know what mothers are like. You hardly ever spoke to yours. I don't think your faith should be taking. Should be talking. Might want to talk to a priest about it. Also, I'm realizing, like, I don't remember exactly what the memories were on the when we went to the castle first. Like, as in what the narrator said on our way there. I just remember that she was like the narrator was talking about how royalty usually isn't really kind, so our only hope was that whoever we found at the castle would be kind enough to let us in, based on the fairy tales and all of that. But then when we went to the shore, she talked about a father figure, and the narrator also said you do not know what a father is like. But I don't think they mentioned anything about like you hardly ever spoke to yours. I think they just mentioned like you don't know what it's like, period. And now we're talking about mother figures. So I was thinking maybe she's an orphan, but apparently not, because she does have a mother. Or had, maybe. We got stabbed in the hand, that's what I remember. Oh yeah, that was about our classmates and stuff. And I think we got, with the mermaid, we got more memories about our life at school. But nothing about our parents. These have been the only two instances where they have been like sort of mentioned. Or at least it's been mentioned that we don't know what those are like. So I'm curious about that. You're only guessing. You're not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Peasants do not, as you know from your voracious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It might be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. So you run to the village. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you manage it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? Yeah, like thrice now. The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. I'm starting to think that maybe the forest is like safer. Kind of. Just saying. Like, based on our experiences so far, I'm like, yeah, maybe just the forest is safer. Maybe, just maybe. You know? Okay, I just got recommended a video called Worst Parents in Movies, Weird Timing. YouTube knows, the algorithm knows. It is still cold though, and still foggy. It's still dark too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village, nestled among the hills like a diorama. Hope anew bubbles within you. You have finally made it. Surely not, but your salvation awaits you? Oh, surely not, but your salvation awaits you? You follow the winding dirt path to the village, looking this way and that. But your hope, such a precious, fragile thing, soon begins to fade. The village, up close, does not look half as welcoming as you imagined. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of disrepair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are gaping open. The kitchens beyond them even darker than the night sky which shrouds you. There are no lights on in any of the windows, and neither can you see any people, insomniacs like you, at them. You cannot hear anything, either beyond the sound of your own footsteps and the low mournful sighing of the wind. The village is quiet, eerily so. Everyone is dead because of the plague. Probably. Just guessing. It is immediately obvious, even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. I like the forest, lots of places to hide. And... oh. Chat, this, like, the little emoji thing on the chat doesn't let me see what else is on the text. I'm assuming it says, and fun sneaking up on people, which, fair. Oh, and for sneaking up on people. I can see it now. I guess. I mean, I think I've only been to a forest like twice. And I never really did much in those places. Okay, yeah. Something terrible must have befallen this village. Like, I lost track of what I was doing for a second there. You know before you try your luck at one of the houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kindly red arm washerwoman to welcome you here, no matter how much you wish for it. But that does not stop you from wishing regardless. Your knuckles rap smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts soon prove, however, to be in vain. Shame I live in one. Yeah, I remember you've mentioned this before. I wonder what that's like. The problem is I don't like bugs, so that would probably not be a very fit place for me to live. As much as I like the peace and quiet. Although, I guess it depends on the zone, because there are forests that are like very peaceful and there are others that have a lot of animals, wild animals. And I don't want to deal with that. Honestly. There is nobody here to hear your entreaties? How very sad. You try another door, then another, but the result is the same, regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There is nobody there. Once again, you have found yourself all alone. At least you have found some dwellings in which you can rest your weary head. Will you utilize one of these cottages for your purposes? Nobody's here. You might as well. But no, an abandoned cottage is not what you're looking for. You would far rather have companionship, would you not? Bravely, you swallow your tears. You wipe your eyes with the back of your arm in a well-practiced motion. Then inhale. You square your shoulders, and you keep on going. Surely the village cannot be completely deserted. There must be one person here, at the very least, who can help you. That is what you're thinking as you resume your search. I should make a compilation of every single time I stutter when I'm reading. Oh boy. It's fine, except the coyotes and bears. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm like, maybe not. I don't want to deal with that. You flit from cottage to cottage, with precious little to show for your determination, until you make yet another discovery. The village, with its squat, thatched cottages, bathed in the moon's glow, has a church. Well, of course it has a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens, not that their faith did them all that much good in the end. Still, the sight of the church soothes over your taxed heart. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washerwoman taking you in, you did not pause to entertain the fancy of a kindly nun doing much the same. All hope is not lost. You approach the church, which seems to tower over you despite it being so humble. The church is a small one, but it's stout and sturdy. It must be, for it has withstood centuries, forever standing, sentinel on this hill, like a relic from a bygone era. That would be too long. What, like knocking door from door? Yeah. I would have just like stayed in one of them if there are no like dead bodies around or anything. As long as there's like a place where she can lie down for a little bit and then continue, then like I don't see why she would like just do that, but oh well. I guess she is very lonely. The church does not have any stained glass windows, but it does not need them. Even without more luxurious trappings, the church still exudes an aura of dignified solemnity. The stone building is fringed by a sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop and some of its sloping sides. The graves, which have been planted by generations of wardens, are I don't know how to pronounce that word, from a similar stone to that which the church's walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like long. Oh God, what are these words? Some of these gravestones are shaped like lozenges, while others are shaped like crosses. A handful of headstones are even shaped like angels, though these are few and far between. Those were probably the people with more money. Fun fact, the word nun is just N doing a cartwheel. Nun. 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 I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense to an extent. Nun. There are very few people in the village, such as this one, who can afford such luxurious final resting places. You look at the tombstones with an almost childlike curiosity, forgetting in your examination of the visceral heart-rending fear which gripped you as you ran through the forest. You are out of the woods now, and you have, self-consciously, already begun to relax. You try to read the names hewn into the myriad tombstones, but it is dark and you are tired, and some of these graves are very, very old indeed. You strain your eyes, but you do not have much luck in this endeavor. Oh well. Such superfluous details are not important. You eventually tire of examining the graves in turn. This graveyard is an expansive one, and usually so, given the village itself is so small. How can it boast so many corpses? And there is much to explore. You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here and there, then everywhere, consumed, as you are, by your immense, all-encompassing curiosity. And, as you do, you see her. She pretty, short hair, white hair, pretty. She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny, just like yourself, but she is much, much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. For some moments you observe her, hiding, all the while, in the shadow cast by the church, like a furtive lizard clinging against a rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sun. There is no sunlight here, though. There is only the night sky, and the stars, and the moon. Beneath the moon's light, a silvery implement the girl is clutching shimmers. It takes you a few moments to see what it is that the girl is clutching in her hands. It is not until you see her manipulate it, its sharp edge biting into the earth, that you understand. It is a shovel. This girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard, late at night, and she is digging a grave. Well, you suppose she could always be digging a hole for the sake of it, but her work seems much too precise for this to be the result of a mere whimsy. It is hard for you to see her face, given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the end of her shovel into the earth over and over. What is it called? Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There is something hypnotic, almost in the manner in which she attends this task. Should you risk interrupting her? Do you dare? You get the feeling that she would not appreciate it. The shovel in her hands, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. Cold anxiety makes your skin prickle. You do not know if you should risk speaking to her when she, in her dark cloak, with her shovel, looks so very strange. But what do you have left to lose? You have come this far. It would be folly to turn back now. It is with this thought in your mind that you decide to approach the strange girl. Your footsteps are quiet. You have grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quiet enough. The girl's senses must be finely tuned because she blinks. Then she turns. Your eyes meet, and once they do, you feel your breath catch in your throat. You did not have a clear view of the girl before, concealed as you were in the shadows, but now she's looking at you. You can tell she's pretty. Her skin is very smooth, and her hair, though obscured by a dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are clear, cool blue, like ice. Those eyes of hers, which are large with an ease, are fringed with very long, fair eyelashes. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision? A waking dream? A hallucination? But no, she is none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands looks solid enough, its pointed tip glittering wickedly in the moonlight. You steel yourself, expecting perhaps some sort of outburst. But the tension soon drains from the girl's slender shoulders. Her fingers, which once were gripping the handle of her shovel, tightly, relax. And she smiles. Her lips curve upwards at the edges. She is smiling, and what a smile it is. The mermaid was prettier, though. It is transformative. I can fix her. No, God! No one can fix anyone. I wish. I could say I could fix the mermaid, but I don't think I can. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic, almost. So is this your type? Hers is a smile that is so suffused with light that your eyes begin to prickle from it. You are so relieved, you almost feel as if you could cry. It would not be the first time you have wept during this night, and neither should it be too surprising if you did. You have been through a lot. You must be exhausted. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this, because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then, she says, in a rough voice which does not match her dainty appearance, "Well, she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting?" "Oh, it is so good to see another person. I was afraid I was the only person left alive, the only one in the whole world." Now this is quite the effusive greeting. No, look, you and so don't like the mermaid. Let me have it. Okay, I'm gonna store this in my mental files for later. Her introductory speech is riddled with exclamation marks. I mean, she is really pretty. But I don't know, there's something about her that doesn't quite... Like, the mermaid was prettier for me. But I can appreciate what you see in her, I guess. I mean, the princess was also pretty, but she was okay until she became or showed her cannibal tendencies to us. The mermaid was really pretty. She unfortunately drowned us, but everything else was okay. And her, well, we don't know her enough, but she's pretty too. I guess I would like, for now, I would probably place her in number 2 out of the 3. She's rather more personable than her apparel would make one suggest. You, a well-read young lady, cannot help but feel overwhelmed. No, I didn't find the other 2 that pretty. Also, I'm just realizing that her cape has like bones on the sides, which is very ominous. It is your turn now to be on your guard. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel, and you ask her what she means. What happened? Oh, you not know? There is an awful lot you do not know. So much, in fact, it would fill a whole encyclopedia. No, a whole library. You shake your head, ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns. You mustn't be from around these parts. I guess I should have known. This village is a small one, and everyone knows everybody else. What do you mean you'll remember this? I'll just remember. I'll just remember. The girl's expression falls. At least they used to, back when there were still people to know. Not in the case now, though. Not after the plague. See, it was a plague. There was a plague? We know this. Although, I'm assuming like because of how things have been like unfolding, that the protagonist doesn't remember when she takes a second chance at life from the others. So so she doesn't really know, but we know because we've already experienced this. That would certainly explain why the village, when you walked through it, was so quiet. Did everybody else succumb to the mysterious illness? That's right. It's just me here now. Have not seen another human being in a long time. It gets so lonely here. Title drop so early on? Now that is an interesting turn of a phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? 3 times now. You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the girl takes a step towards you. Oh, but where are my manners? They must have gone rusty after being on my own for so long. My apologies, miss. You look like you've come a long way. You said you were a traveler, yes? And your hands are very cold, just like ice. Would you like to come inside? Maybe have something more to eat and to drink? My home's small, I'm afraid, and my food ain't nothing fancy, but I'd be more than willing to share. It's not every day another girl stops by, especially not one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed. The girl laughs, a carefree, airy sort of laugh, which does not match your initial impression of her. Roll credits. That sounds like a threat. It's not a threat. Not really. You thought when you saw her amongst the graves that she would be more distant somehow and more mysterious. Yeah, because she looks like her whole color palette and expression and all of that tells you that she's like one of these like very quiet, standoffish girls. But she's actually very friendly compared to like the other two. Like the princess was also very friendly, but not in the same way, I feel. And the one that was like very standoffish at first was the mermaid. funnily enough. Perhaps they're mixing her up with somebody else. We are still unsure if you can trust this girl, but her invitation is an appealing one. It is much more appealing, certainly, than spending the night outdoors in the cold keeping of the grapes. What are you, a romantic poet? Please. You make a show of pondering the girl's invitation at the very least. You do not want to appear too eager, but your acquiescence is, alas, an inevitability. 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 Yeah. I'm like Megamind, sorry. Why would you ever refuse her? She is the first friendly face you've seen all night. Without her, you would be all alone. Hello, Vampire Miranda, welcome! Glad to have you here again. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home, located at a stone's throw away from the church, built in the shadows of a twisted towering sycamore. The girl's home is in such a state it seems a folly to even call it a home. I think it's because I trust these honest people more than the honest people. I guess, but weird. Hovel would, to you, be the more appropriate descriptor. But when your hostess leads you inside, her eyes alive, and she says, "Here we are, home sweet home." You don't have the heart to tell that You don't have the heart to tell her that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That would be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. Half-heartedly, you look around at your newfound surroundings. The ceiling is supported by wooden joists and is perilously low. Not so much so that you're in danger of bumping your head, but just enough to feel claustrophobic. There is a fire in the corner, though it's not consigned to a grate. The fire, instead, is blazing in the open, a circle of logs set alight like a scene from a witch's kitchen. Could she be a witch? Maybe, in disguise? Ooh. But also, wouldn't like the whole house lit on fire because everything is made of wood? Above the fire hangs a silvery pot, suspended from one of the wooden eaves. Other objects of interest are hung from the eaves. Iron implements you take to be cooking utensils, various herbs, and strips of meat left to cure. The smell of cooking fills the air, mingled with the sharp, sour scent of unwashed bodies. How, you wonder, does your hostess clean herself? You do not see a bathtub anywhere. Perhaps she does not possess one. The girl's home is unremarkable in every regard, but it is, you suppose, better than nothing. At least there is a roof over your head, and food to be put in your belly. Can you play Alan Wake 2? What is that? Let me write it down. Alan Wake 2. It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever seen it. I feel like I've heard of it before, but I'm not quite sure. Let me just look it up real quick. Alan Wake 2. Depends on if my computer can handle it and price. Honestly, I'm gonna be like real with you. I think it might be... I think it's like a graphics heavy game. all the way to Steam. It's on Epic Games. It's a horror game. Okay, I'll look. Oh. Okay. I'll check it out. But I might not be able to just because I'm seeing that it's like a console game. And I do have a capture card, but I don't have any of the consoles that this game is on. And thus, installing it on the PC might be a little... might not really work. Not the Epic Game Store. What's wrong with the Epic Game Store? I've never actually downloaded any games from there, so I don't know. Because you can trust an honest person to be dishonest. However, you can never know when the honest people will stab you in the back. How is that better? I don't see how that's better. But anyway, I'll look it up, Vampire Miranda, but just as a heads up, it might not be possible from what I'm seeing. Just because the game, like graphic-wise, might be too heavy for my poor PC. I have a potato PC. It doesn't, like, my graphics card is not the best. That's the problem, my graphics card, so yeah. And I do want to get a better one, but they're very expensive, unfortunately. But we'll see, we'll see. The girl looks to the pot, suspended over the fire, which she gives a stir with the ladle. Then, she brings the ladle to her lips to taste whatever concoction she has brewing within it. You can only hope that she is not, like the weird sisters from that famous play, brewing a broth with fenny snake fillets. Ew. Yes, I think it's just about done. The girl says nobody in particular. She does have a pretty smile, though. Oh, crypto games. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. She sets the ladle down back into the pot, then looks at you and smiles. Is the neighbor hammering right now? The neighbor's hammering right now. Oh my god. You want something? It looks as though you've come quite a long way and you must be hungry. These words are like music to your ears, even more divine than the trumpets of God's most loyal angels. You are so hungry you could eat a horse. Not that there are any horses in the immediate vicinity. You express your interest to your hostess, who smiles in response. I thought you'd like the sound of that. Just give me a few moments. Your hostess retrieves 2 earthenware bowls from a cupboard with raggedy hinges, into which she pours 2 hefty helpings of whatever it is she's cooking. This she serves with bread, which is so hefty it could be used as a murder weapon. Oh no! Is she making a healthy soup? We don't really know. I'm assuming she's making like some kind of like meat broth, probably. But I'm not sure. It's not much, I'm afraid. It's only soup and bread. And it should take the edge of your appetite, though. You thank your hostess for her hospitality, your stomach rumbling all the while. The soup does not look like anything you would typically consume, but the soup's poor presentation does not dissuade you. It is true enough that people eat first with their eyes, but when one is hungry enough, one becomes obliging enough to eat almost anything. Why else do you think that people, when stranded upon the desert islands, will resort to cannibalism? Humans are creatures of necessity. You like to wrap yourselves up in You like to wrap yourselves up in pretensions, but in actuality, you are not much better than animals. You're so hungry, your stomach is achingly empty, that you certainly descend upon your food like an animal. Your teeth clench, your incisors gleam, and soon you have consumed all that your hostess has offered you. Your hostess watches while you eat, and she giggles once you have finished. Did you enjoy that? Oh. You catch your hostess's gaze, suddenly abashed. You were so hungry you failed to account for her judgment. Now you have some food in your belly, though, and you have been suitably warmed. Your old self-consciousness is returning. Did you not make a fool out of yourself? You demur shyly, looking at your lap, fearful all the while of what your hostess might think of you. You do not want her to take it against you. Fortunately for you, however, and for your fragile ego, your hostess is not the judgmental sort. Yeah, and I don't like being betrayed by someone I trust. What's a cannibalism? Well, it's when a human eats another human. You know. Or a being of like a certain species eats another one of its kind. She's not like the girls you grew up with. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's nice to see my food being appreciated so heartily. Crabs. No, Con. They must know the truth behind cannibalism. Oh, by the way, I have a Discord server. Join my Discord server. Everyone who's watching right now or later who are watching the bot, hi. Join my Discord server. The link's in the description. Thank you. And I'm not the best, but I've been practicing for a long while. I used to cook for my father all the time, you see. This remark catches your attention. Quizzically, you look at your hostess, your abashment over your animalistic eating habits suspended. What happened to her father? It seems a grim thing to contemplate after having eaten, but didn't your hostess mention something about a plague? Yes, your hostess says, her voice soft now and serious. That's right. There was a plague. And what of the villagers? What of her father? They're all gone now. Gone? Yes. Easy. Your hostess rearranged herself upon her chair, one slender leg folded over the other. Then she begins her tale in earnest. Yeah, crabs eat other crabs. Okay, I just brought myself up because I was like shrimping real hard. Anyway, my family has a history. We've lived here for centuries, by the church, so we can tend to the graveyard. Ah, so this abode is centuries old then. It would certainly explain the dirt. My father used to prepare bodies for burial. Back when he was alive, he built the coffins and he dug the graves, and he lowered the coffins into the dirt. So he was the undertaker? I know it may sound like an awful job, but somebody's gotta do it. There's no sense of averting our eyes from that. Not when it happens to the best of us. It is a noble profession, one that's been handed down in our family for generations. My father's father was a grave digger, and so was my father's father, my father's father's father, and my father's 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 father. Digging graves is in our blood. It's who we are. My. That was a surprisingly pretty speech coming from a girl who lives in the countryside, a girl who is without much in the way of education. It is apparent just to listen to her, and the way she slurs her syllables together, that she has never had any elocution lessons, not like you. Hmm. Do you cook the soup for your family when they're feeling sick? Not really. I think we don't really do soup when we get sick. We just take medication and deal with it. Honestly, it's very rare when we get sick, so we never really got into any of that. Like the typical practices, I guess, of like making warm soup for feeling better and stuff. It's just don't drink anything cold and take your meds, and that's it. And if you're feeling like really, really bad, then sleep as well. But other than that, we don't really do any of those things. There is a determination, however, to her, and a pride in her genealogy, which gives her a respectable aura. You cannot help but be impressed. So, you ask your hostess, does that make her one in a long line of gravediggers? Yes, your hostess, the gravedigger, says. That's about right, though I was never supposed to be a gravedigger myself. It's not a woman's profession, that's what everybody says. My father didn't mind that though. He taught me everything he knew and then some. I might be a woman, but I have plenty of upper body strength. I can dig a grave just as well as my father could, without breaking a sweat. To the despair of my mother up in heaven, I'm sure. I'm sure if she were still alive, she'd rather I focus on the more feminine pursuits, like basket weaving or sewing, to better attract a suitor. Not that that would do much good now. There's nobody around who'd court me. Not for miles and miles. And what happened to her mother? She died when I was very young, during childbirth. I was only 5 years old. So you had a sister? Or a brother? Oh, well, you can relate to her, at least up on this point. So our mother also died at childbirth? Do we have siblings? Oh, our parents are not dead. Oh, your parents are not dead, at least, not as far as you're aware, but you have not seen them in an awfully long time. Leon, do you have any plan for Thanksgiving? We don't celebrate Thanksgiving where I'm from, so nope. We didn't really have that, so there are no plans for November, like no special plans. It's just me, my doggo. Random fact, I got into an argument with with my GF today about liking the green parts of Lucky Charms more than the marshmallow. Have I ever eaten Lucky Charms? Hold on. I need to remember what those look like. It's been a while since I've eaten cereal. At all. Lucky Charms. The crispy part. Oh, okay, I haven't eaten this one specifically, but I do kind of know what the texture is like. And like, I like both. Honestly, I don't have a problem with either. Marshmallows are good, but the other part of the cereal is also good, so I don't see... Like, for me, it's pretty much the same. But I haven't, like, specifically eaten Lucky Charms. I've eaten other kinds of, like, similar cereals. What's this girl's name? We don't really know yet. We just know she's a villager, and now we know she's a grave digger, but we don't really know her name. Actually, I don't think any of the girls have told us their names. Like, the mermaid never told us her name, and most certainly the princess didn't either, so maybe they just never tell us their names for some reason. They sent you away as soon as you were old enough, and they never once bothered to check up on you. For many years, there have been no letters, nor any visits. You offer the gravedigger your condolences. You don't know if they will help, but you feel like you cannot say nothing. That would seem heartless. The gravedigger, however, does not seem too upset by this turn of events, because she smiles, albeit somberly. She's Kitscho, so who cares? You should at least know her name. If you want to, like, for example, take her out to dinner, fix her, you need to know her name, right? It's alright. It was ages ago. I don't remember her too well, and I've never really had the luxury of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I had too much work to do. Around the house, you ask? That too. I was the oldest child, so it was my job after my mother died to manage sleeping and the cooking and looking after all my siblings too. You blink, intrigued, then glance about your hostess' humble lodgings. You did not see any siblings in the immediate vicinity. Where could they be? They're probably all dead. The gravedigger must have noticed your roving eyes. You're not being exactly subtle, because she shakes her head. I had siblings. 2 younger brothers. They're both gone now. Oh. You should have known. The plague literally took everyone. You apologize to the gravedigger for your lack of tact, but she does not seem upset by this well, I forgot how this is pronounced. Fox pause. Don't apologize. It's not your fault. Sucks for losing the family member. Yeah. She basically lost her whole family and also the entire village. If she had friends, she also lost her friends. So she's completely alone. My brothers weren't long for this world anyway. The youngest, he died when he was still a babe. And the oldest, he died before he reached double digits. Oh, so they died before the plague. I was upset about it at the time, of course, but I've come to terms with it. Life's a fleeting thing in this wicked old world. That's something you learn in this trade. Digging graves, I mean. I've dug graves for the elderly and the infirm. I've also dug graves for young babes and still in their swaddling for young babes still in their swaddling clothes. That's the nature of that. It comes for all of us in the end. No matter how old we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how good or bad we've been. It's a great equalizer. Or so I've heard. A chill creeps down your spine as you listen to your hostess' speech. She is very broken, my god. She's not wrong, but the inherent mortality of all humankind is not something you wish to contemplate. It is too disturbing. Well, she's gonna kill us anyway, so I don't have to learn it. I guess. For the longest of times, my family was a small one. It was just my father and me. But that was fine. It was how I liked it. I was very happy even if our lives weren't the best. I never had any fancy clothes to wear, and we can't dine on the finest of foods. In the grand scheme of things, we ain't anything that special, but I've always felt otherwise. I thought that I was blessed. We knew hardship, of course, and famine, but that's just the way life's around here. When food supplies were low, we always helped one another out. I had my father, but I also had the rest of the village. We all looked after one another, and things always worked out in the end. At least they did. She's based, I like her more now. Have you lost any family members? Yeah, a couple. A long time ago, though. Yeah, it's been... I think it's been like over a decade. So, it's fine now. But yeah, I've lost family members. In the past. Until the plague happened. Yes, she had mentioned a plague. You had been wondering when she was going to return to that topic. You suppose that the plague is the reason that the village as you traversed it was so very empty? You'd suppose right. The plague tore through the village. I don't remember when. It feels like it was a while ago, but maybe it wasn't all that long after all. It feels like I've been on my own for centuries, but... Your hostess's eyes begin to cloud over. She looks as though she is entrenched within her own memories. What could she be remembering? You have never seen a plague before, though you have heard of them. Though you have heard of them in your history lessons. Your history professor was quite enthusiastic about the subject. She talked about piles of dead bodies stacked up on the streets and stacked up in the wooden carts come to take them away. With no shortage of a plumb. She was a strange woman, your history professor. The plague came on very suddenly. There was no warning. One day everyone was fine and the next... They were all dead. It is with no small amount of anxiety that you eye the gravedigger. Then you ask, worriedly, surely they could not have all died? Is that not an exaggeration? Oh, if only. I wish I was exaggerating, but it's the truth, honest to God. The people in the village died, one after the other. Just like that. Look, a girl who has constant, intrusive thoughts like me is a nice thought to have, okay? Can't believe that this girl has been gone through. We all lived through a plague recently, yeah. Well, can it be considered a plague? What's the difference between a pandemic and a plague? Maybe that the plague might just be like specific to a zone and the pandemic was like worldwide. Although that's an epidemic, so as well. So, but it didn't plague like the whole country. I'm assuming it only like plagued this village and maybe another one nearby. So it might just maybe that's the difference between like a plague and an epidemic, and thus a pandemic as well. But yeah. I saw what the plague does to people firsthand. My father was one of the first people who caught it. I think one of the bodies which came through that we buried must have had it. Now that I know for certain, I'm just guessing. Still. My father didn't have an easy time of it. His skin turned all gray and clammy, and he complained of a horrible fever. There were night sweats and stomach cramps. And then there were the boils. The boils? Pastels, oh. They were the size of eggs and they were full of... Ew. When they burst, it stunk. The whole house was full of it. The stink of death. The wise woman of the village came to see if she could be of any use, but it was no good. My father was too far gone already. She took one look at him lying on his deathbed, And she shook her head. She said she didn't want to get any closer. I can't say I blame her. It was a ghastly sight. I didn't appreciate it at the time though. It felt like she was turning her back on us. I wished her ill. I remember that after she left. Until a few days passed and she fell sick too. Then I felt bad for cursing her. I couldn't help but worry if it was all my fault. It's silly, I know, but... The gravedigger closes her eyes. The gravedigger closes her eyes. She seems to squeeze her lids together until her lashes melt like flecks of fallen snow. Her shoulders, which are very slender, are shaking. She looks as though she might, at any moment, fall apart. It wasn't long after that the rest of the village fell ill. They all had the same symptoms as my father. The clammy skin, and the fever, and the boils. The boils grew, then they burst, and they died in screaming, stinking agony. My father died too, only 3 days after he fell ill, but I think even that was 3 days too many. I didn't want my father to die, of course. I did everything I could to help him, but it was all pointless. None of my herbal salves had any impact. I couldn't make a blind bit of difference. All I did was stand about his bedside telling him he'd be alright, until his eyes sank into his skull like 2 black stones and his mouth dried out. During the last day, before he died, he might have been a corpse already. He didn't look at me, he didn't speak to me. He just lay in bed with his eyes closed, groaning. I never wished any ill on my father before, but during those moments The gravedigger squeezes her hands, which are resting upon her back, clad lap into fists. She trembles. Then, in a voice throbbing with awful emotion, she says, "I wish he'd just died." Well, based on her anecdote, it does not sound like she had overly longed to wait. I wonder if she would consider that a silver lining? No, perhaps not. The gravedigger is still shaking. She will not cry, will she? You hope not. Awkwardly, you look at the gravedigger. You are not sure how to soothe her, but you know you must make some sort of an effort, even if it's a token one. You shift up on your chair, which feels very cold and hard beneath your thighs. Then you say, very softly, that you are sorry. It is not much, but it is all you can think of saying. She's cute, slightly crazy, and has a sad backstory, okay? I generally want to give her a hug. Yeah, she's been through a lot. I was actually thinking, like, she's been the nicest so far. Because even the princess, like, she was nice to us for a while, but she was very condescending. And you could tell with the mermaid that she tried to look at us as, like, a different person, as our own individual self. But she was, like, really just using us to replace the other human she liked and that disappeared. But this one hasn't really had any other, like, she's not using us for anything. On the contrary, she's the one giving us, like, a space to live and eat properly, or at least as much as she can give us. What I do wonder is, how did everyone get infected but not her? Because she was there with her father. I don't know if she touched him, but she was there with her father the whole time. So shouldn't she have caught anything? Hey, Saru! Welcome! I hear that someone is gonna bury us. I feel like this girl is gonna bury us alive. And she has a very sad backstory that her entire village died. And she's the only survivor. I can fix her. Yeah, I thought initially that your situation was comparable to that of the gravedigger, but now you can see that this is not the case. Her suffering has far outstripped your own. Know that suffering is a competition, of course. Your apology feels inadequate to your ears, largely because it is, but the grave digger seems to not mind it. She's very big-hearted, that girl. She smiles at you so, no matter how foolish she might be. She can bury me for free. So do as always, down bad. No matter the situation. I just think she pretty. Anyway, do you really deserve such kindness? Oh, again with the apologies. It's alright, like I said. You didn't cause any of this. I'm not upset at you, I'm just recounting what happened is all. I do wonder though why I never felt sick myself. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I thought I was gonna die, so I'd already prepared for the Reaper to come and take me away. But maybe he wasn't interested. Maybe he'd already satiated his appetite on all the others. That, or maybe he thought he'd have to leave me alive for practicality's sake. With my father gone, who else would tend to the dead? I mean, they could just rot on the ground and go back to the dirt themselves. I was the only person left by the end of it all. So I had to bury the people in the village. They're all resting peacefully now under the earth, where the plague can't reach them. On the one hand, I'm happy for them. They were able to escape from all their suffering. When I think about all the people I've lost, though, the gravedigger tenses. Then she sniffs. When I think about the kindly washerwoman who helped me scrub the mud and the dirt from my clothes. Aha! So this village did have its fair share of washerwomen, after all. It would seem your earlier insistence upon this particular point was not without merit, but this is not the time to think about that. And the handsome young farmhands who used to flirt with me. The priest who preached at the church, who told us wonderful tales of paradise, and the children who would skip stones on the lake and play hopscotch in the streets. I can't help but feel so lonely. The gravedigger's eyes begin to shine when she has finished her address with tears, but she does not let them fall. She's being very brave, much more so than you are. Anxiously, you extend a hand towards her, meaning to. What? Give her a hug? You do not know her well enough. Pat her head? That would be infantilizing. Squeeze her hand? Perhaps that could be misconstrued as a romantic overture, and that is the last thing you want. Is it though? You endured more than your fair share of teasing over that. You sit there for a few moments, paralyzed by indecision, as the gravedigger poorly suppresses her sniffles. In the end, you let your arm drop back to your side. Your hands rest upon your lap, as useful as damp kindling. You do not know what to do with it. You do know that you ought to say something, though, to show that you heard her plight and that you care. You do not know what this something should be, however. No words could ever console the gravedigger. They would never be enough. They can only offer some balm, however, to the bereaved. And so, after a pause just long enough to be awkward, you offer your condolences. What else can you say? Oh no, the gravedigger replies, wiping a few stray tears away with the back of her arm. It's alright. I've grown used to it, really. Being on my own, I mean. It ain't so bad, really. My back. How you doing, Leo? Be down back with us. Actually, no, she doesn't see her beauty. Lisa also said, remember that I like this character. It's the first thing I watch. Or she the main waifu. I mean, I'm just stretching because my back feels a little bit sore. The other girls were the princess and the mermaid from last time. And this is the third one. There, as far as we know, there's only 3. And this is the third one, who's the only one who's not like a supernatural. Well, the princess wasn't a supernatural being either, but she was a cannibal. Mermaid forever in my heart. And it's not that I don't see her beauty. She is pretty. I like her. And she's also very nice so far. But I feel like, I don't know, the mermaid was prettier. In my eyes. She was not the kindest, but she was prettier. And now Khan is also down bad, but for this one. And I'm not alone now, at least. I met you. You'll keep me company, won't you? Well, what can you say to that? Leo, you get the princess by default. Why? I don't want the princess. She's a cannibal. I want the mermaid. We can share. I'd be willing to share with... She has 2 hands for hand holding. You aren't callous enough to trample this poor girl's hopes, are you? You know full well yourself how awful that feels. You can do nothing but nod. A response which makes the girl smile more widely still. Oh, that's wonderful. I know you're just a traveler who's passing through, but I can offer you bread and board until you leave. I have food enough and a spare bedroom. I can make it up for you right now. You must be tired after your long journey. Just give me a moment. I agreed to share. Coward. I don't like the princess. She was pretty, but she wasn't very likable either. Well, we're all dead, so who cares? Yeah, the mermaid's just gonna drown us anyway. I'd rather get... Well... getting drowned is, like, very bad. But I'd rather get drowned than eaten alive. The gravedigger rises to her feet in a flurry of excitement, then retreats. You watch as she departs, a little too eager to please, and frown. The girl's home is a small, humble one with low ceiling and slanted walls. You cannot imagine such a small dwelling possessing a spare bedroom. This so-called spare bedroom is, in all likelihood, the room her father slept in before the plague carried him off. You do not think that you would much like to spend the night in the room of a dead man, but what choice do you have? You are tired, wretchedly so. Why is it all you can do to keep your eyes open? I can't read. Why? It is all you can do to keep your eyes open? While you were running through the forest, desperate to escape your pursuer, you had no thought in mind beyond finding some safe sanctuary in which you would recuperate. Now that you have found said sanctuary, it would be unreasonable to find faults with it. You ought to learn to be more thankful for what you have. There are many, many people in the world with less. You rise and follow the gravedigger when she has finished the preparations to her so-called spare bedroom, which is every bit as cramped as you feared it would be. At least there is a bed, which comes as something of a relief. The rest of these lodgings are so humble you were half expecting a straw pallet. As tired as you might be, you cannot lie to yourself. You have no desire to sleep among the hay like an animal. The sheets of the bed are clean, too, a fact you discerned with a cursory glance. So you will not be expected to sleep upon the sweat-soaked linen of a plague-ridden by a man, after all. Were you really expecting that? This really is your lucky day. I mean, she probably didn't keep those because they were filled with, you know, germs and stuff, and she could have caught the plague just by touching them. So she probably burned them. She wouldn't just leave them there. I got you this too, the gravedigger says, somewhat shyly, as she hands you a folded gown. Just slip in. I thought it might come in handy. Your own clothes are, a little shabby. She can't say that again. Your skirt is covered in mud and the hem is torn and red. This nightgown is one of my own ones, so it's suffered a bit of wear and tear, but I hope it'll feel alright. It's clean if nothing else. You accept the nightgown from your benefactress with words of thanks. You want to sound appropriately appreciative, but you cannot mask your fatigue. Weariness overcomes you, and you yawn, a fact the gravedigger does not fail to notice. Oh, begging your pardon, I do not want to keep you. I'll be making myself scarce. If you need anything, though, don't hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to help. The gravedigger bows her head to you like a drudge, and hurries off, closing the door behind her with a thud. Tired though you are, you soon find that you rather miss your hostess's company. In the face of her good-natured smiles, you could almost forget all of the hardships you have hitherto endured. In her absence, however, your lodgings feel almost unbearably cold and inhospitable. You suppress a shudder, then unclothe yourself. You work as quickly as you're able, but your fingers are cold, and they fumble with the buttons of your blouse. It takes you more time than you would like to complete this endeavor, but you soon have your shirt and your skirt dispensed with. You are too tired to fold them neatly, so you do not bother to fold them at all. Instead, you cast them carelessly upon the floor, as defiant as the sulky child, then pull on your new nightgown. Your hostess's earlier warnings were apt enough. It is quite worn, but it feels well enough. It is more comfortable, at least, than your old uniform. You have endured worse. Newly dressed and ready for bed, you loosen your hair from your braids and settle down amongst the sheets. It is with a sigh you extinguish the weakly flickering candlelight which burns on your bedside, and with another sigh that you lay your head down upon your pillow. Though physically exhausted, you have to wonder whether you will be able to sleep at all. You can recall your previous dash through the forest in such vivid detail. Your heart is still pounding. I was gonna say, I'm hearing something in my what's the name of it? In my headset. The fear has yet to leave you. Perhaps it will never leave you. Your terror was such, it almost feels as though it has suffused itself into your bones, into your very being. But your exhaustion is greater than your worldly anxieties, and soon it claims you. Your eyelids fall shut, and your breathing inevitably begins to even out. It is not long until you are spiraling through a dark, deep abyss, lost in Morpheus' kingdom. But your sleep, despite your worried state, is not as restorative as you had hoped. Your imagination has always been overactive. Even at the conservatoire, you were frequently beset by dreams of the most vivid nature. Oh, give me a little second, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Just had to check something real quick, but it's all done now. Now I just need my... There we go. Where was I? The dreams that you have this night, lying beneath unfamiliar sheets upon an unfamiliar bed, are no less intense than usual. In your dreams, you are back at the conservatoire, the place where this adventure of yours began. I wonder if we'll get more context as to how the heck we ended up here. I know they've mentioned that like we apparently like played or did something with the spell book, or we did some sort of ritual, but not really like as to why or how. You're wearing the crisp white blouse you once discarded, and your grey, unremarkable skirt. Your hair is tied in braids and your eyes are downturned, forever focused upon your feet. You try not to look at your classmates, and you thought yourself fortunate if they did not look at you in return. You did not want anybody to notice you. Until that awful winter, that is, where everybody stopped paying attention to you for good. Nobody tried to trip you when you walked past them in the hallways. Nobody, in fact, so much as glanced at you. All of a sudden, there were no malicious whispers, no wicked laughter, no pulled hair, and no thrown objects. You were giddy with relief, at first, over this newfound means of tormenting you that your classmates had devised. But this little game, that of complete and utter disregard, continued and on, as the days grew shorter and the nights were longer. As the time passed, you began to fret as to the state of your own corporeality. Could anybody still see you? Did you even exist at all? Then, at long last, you found it, quite by accident, the source of all your woes. One of the girls had erected in the forest through which you were sometimes bidden to jog for PE class, beneath the shade cast by an old oak tree. It was a makeshift tombstone, a small mere monument made of stone, upon which one of your classmates had hewn a name. Your name. You knew at once, as you stood there, standing beneath the shade of that ancient tree, that this was the reason behind your classmates' silence. This was why they had for many months been ignoring you so assiduously. They had buried you. In their hearts, you had already died. What the heck? Okay, so far, I think every memory has had something to do with like her fate at the end of the story, because with the cannibal princess, she got stabbed with scissors on the hand, so there was like blood and skin involved, just like how she pricked her finger with the rose thorns. And then on the mermaids, she fell in a fountain, but she didn't want to remember what happened after that. So she probably was like, she didn't drown, but she probably like swallowed some water and had a trouble breathing and maybe almost died or something. And now she got like not literally buried, but they just pretended she was dead. Or maybe maybe she actually died and she didn't really know. Because, well, she doesn't mention any teachers or anything, but I feel like her teachers wouldn't ignore her, even if they weren't kind to her. They wouldn't ignore her because she would have to like turn in papers and stuff still and take exams. So it's either that they really decided to just ignore her and pretend she was dead, or she actually died and it was her ghost who was still around, but she didn't know. And then she did the ritual, and now she has a corporeal body somehow? I don't know. Either her classmates are just messed up, or she's a ghost stuck in purgatory and she's trying to move on. Yeah. So she always has some kind of astral dream every time. Yeah, like it's not so much dreams, it's more like her memories. She always remembers something that is somehow related to how she ends up in the story, or something related to the story. Like with the cannibal blood, um with the mermaid water and drowning, and here something about being dead and buried. Wait, maybe that's why at the end it asks you if you give up. They're asking if you accept that, if you accept that you're dead. Maybe, maybe we're really running away from death, but we can't escape it because at the end of the day, we're dead, and you can't escape death. And that's why no matter how much she keeps running and thinks she's found a safe place, it will always come back for her. And so she's on this endless cycle until she finally accepts that her life has ended. Somehow. Interesting. Your eerie dreams notwithstanding, you sleep more comfortably than you had anticipated. When when you awake the following morning, the sweet chirping of birdsong, you feel well rested, albeit woozy. Your head is aching. It is nothing, however, that a cup of hot tea cannot fix. She probably doesn't have tea, girl. You stumble into the kitchen and you're in your nightclothes, your hair loose and your feet bare, and the gravedigger turns to you. She looks even prettier in the daylight. She looks at your face, which is pasty, and your under eyes, which are dark, and exclaims in the manner of one accustomed to solving problems, not complaining about them. Oh, you look awful. I think you need something warm to drink. And maybe you need something to eat too? Let me get started on breakfast. And that is exactly what she does. If we're dead and we can stay with the mermaid, no. Unfortunately, no. And that is exactly what she does. She gets started on breakfast, which proves to be quite a simple affair. Nothing like the luxurious food you were accustomed to in your past life. The bread is hard enough to break your teeth on, and the cheese is a bit too strong. It is food all the same, though, and you do not complain. Your stomach was beginning to grumble. Why is life so cruel? Also, green is my favorite color, so that might play a role. Probably. I think green is like my fourth favorite color? No, wait. No, it's my third favorite color. Yeah. I have this thing where I always like divide things into tiers because I don't I will say, oh yeah, this is my number one, but I also like these other things, and I don't want to have to choose between them, so I just make it like a top 5 tier list. So yeah, green is my third favorite color. The tea is inoffensive at least, and you drink it gratefully. Also, she did have tea. You thank the gravedigger girl for her hospitality, and she smiles at you in return. A sunny smile, like a field of blooming bellflowers. It's no problem. Don't hesitate to ask me if you need anything else, she says, words which come to symbolize your relationship. You stay with the gravedigger for many, many more days, and limited though her means might be, she always tries to help you. The gravedigger sets your chores about the house to keep you occupied, a fact for which you are grateful. You need to do something to keep your mind off your frantic flight through the forest. You can almost forget it now. Blah, blah, blah. You can almost forget about it now during the day. During the night, however, it returns to you. The sound of your feet against the foliage, and the swirling fog. When you sleep, you're assailed by nightmares. Sometimes you awake after midnight, the sheets twisted around your body and your mouth gaping open in a paroxysm of terror. Though you try to tell yourself otherwise, you're still afraid. Green is just so pretty. Put them in the same tub? No, I mean, yeah, but no. Looks like you have a new content idea. Color tier list. Ooh, actually I hadn't thought of that, but yeah. I like that. We could do like tier lists of different stuff. I feel like that's more content for when we are on Twitch. I like that. I'm gonna write that down actually. Thanks for the idea, Con. Nice. Speaking of which, well, I still don't know when it's gonna happen exactly. It's either gonna be on December or until New Year's, but we are gonna do that like trial period on Twitch just to see how we feel about it. So just so you guys like are aware, we're still gonna try that. I just need the time to like actually plan things out and switch things in my OBS and all of that. It shouldn't be that different. I just need like to get used to the layout and everything, because it's been 2 years since I last streamed on Twitch. So I do need to get like familiar with it again. But well, I was joking. No, now it's a thing. Now we're gonna do that. They might be short streams and they might be silly, but content is content. But yeah, they're probably just gonna be like mainly just chatting and maybe chat raging at me for not having the same favorite color, but you know, whatever. But yeah, that sounds more like content for Twitch. But yeah, that is still happening. I just want to see. I want to try it out, and if we don't like it, we can always switch back to YouTube. I have a trauma with the purple one. Yeah, me too. But I just want to try and see, because I didn't really get to try it out that much back then. So I just want to see. And if we don't like it, I will just come back to YouTube and stuff. Why can I only have good ideas when I'm sarcastic? I don't know. The only time when I have good ideas are when I'm like miserably doing projects and stuff for uni. So it's a weird thing. Being with the gravedigger makes you feel less so, though. Particularly when you are sweeping the floor or keeping an eye on the bread loaves so they don't burn. You attend to most of the domestic chores, while the gravedigger concerns herself with the work she knows best. That is, digging graves. So she's like going around the town and grabbing the dead bodies and burying them? Her dogged persistence when it comes to this pursuit intrigues you, so much so that you cannot help but posit a question to her one particular morning, when the sky is festooned with clouds. Why, you ask her, perhaps a touch insensitively, do you continue to dig graves? There is nobody left, after all, to dig them for. You have always been practical, and you cannot see the point in it. What's the point in it? The gravedigger ponders, while holding her precious shovel to her chest. Fortunately, she does not seem upset by your question, despite its bluntness. You should count yourself lucky her temperament is so very placid. I don't suppose there is any point to it, really, the gravedigger eventually says, with a small smile. I know it doesn't have any practical purpose, but... well... digging graves is what my father did. He showed me how to do it so I could continue his legacy. My father wanted to keep our family tradition going, and I suppose I want to do the same. That's all there is to it, really. That's all? That's all. Is it? You think you can understand that? And then because there are no more bodies left to bury, she's gonna bury us to have someone to bury. Though your companion's actions might appear to be illogical, there is a kernel of reason nestled amongst them. She does not dig graves out of any sense of purpose. She does it instead out of sentiment. Besides, I had to do something to keep myself busy, don't I? If I spend my days idling all on my own, I think I'd go mad. The gravedigger laughs at this, as though the prospect of her own madness is amusing. Her laugh, despite her slender stature, is not particularly delicate. It reminds you, perhaps unkindly, of the braying of a horse. You are ashamed of thinking such a thing, though, and your face flushes with the guilt of it. We cannot all be well-bred young ladies, you know. Still, the laughter of the gravedigger, as it echoes through the grey, gloomy sky, is strangely desperate. She's already crazy. It sounds forced. Her smile, too, is a touch unnatural, the rictus grin of a corpse. You find, despite your attempts to return her laughter with a polite giggle, that you cannot help but pity her. Oh. You retreat indoors briefly after your talk with the gravedigger, then set about doing simple chores. Okay, new idea. Dual streaming and see how long it takes for your PC to explode. God, no. I did think about it, but then it was like, I don't think it's gonna survive that. I would need like a much powerful everything just to be able to do that. Because I know it's now possible, because I think back at TwitchCon, they did this thing where now you can do it as long as you only have like Twitch chat on the screen or something. But I thought about it and I was like, maybe my computer wouldn't be able to handle it and every game would be like such a laggy disaster. So, yeah, maybe not. But yeah. All these girls are into very hardcore things, yeah. The gravedigger trusts you well enough to manage sweeping the floor, a task which does not particularly take long, and the preparing of the meals, a task which takes slightly longer. It is not until much later, however, once the sun has already sunk beneath the horizon and the moon is high in the sky, that the gravedigger returns from the outdoors. She is windswept after many hours spent exposed to the elements, and there is dirt caked beneath her fingernails. The gravedigger removes her cloak, which she hangs by the door, then looks at to the pot suspended over the fire, a fire which you stoked with your own fair hands. The scent of cooking food, that of garlic and onions, fills the air, suffusing the interior of the kitchen into a homey aroma which makes your stomach rumble. Taking stock of this, the gravedigger smiles at you, a toothy smile which, despite her status as a lowly peasant, is surprisingly clean and bright and white. Thank you so much, dear one. There is nothing like returning home after a hard day's work to find dinner already prepared. Now let me give it a test. The gravedigger dips a spoon into the soup and brings it to her lips. She blows upon it. So, like, are we the wife now? Then she places the spoon into her mouth, the wooden utensil clacking against her teeth. You observe this with a touch of anxiety. Will she like the food which you have prepared for her? You have cooked for her before in the past, and she was always very complimentary of your efforts. Cooking is not your forte, however. You never had to concern yourself with it, really, growing up in relative comfort as you did. You think that you enjoy this rural, rustic mode of existence more than you did any of the privileges of your past life. At least now, with the gravedigger, you have a steadfast friend, a staunch ally. When you are with her, you are not alone, and that is worth its weight in gold. The gravedigger exclaims, after drawing the spoon from her lips, her smile a bright, guileless one. It's delicious! Your face flushes at this compliment. You are unaccustomed to receiving them, and it makes you feel good. Imagine that your family tradition is digging graves. What would the talk be if you wanted to be like an author or something? My father dug graves, I dug graves, and one day you will dig graves. Probably. Yeah. So to be honest, would you probably end up like this if you were alone for long enough? Would you, Soru? Would you? Shyly, you ask the gravedigger if she truly means that. A query which makes the gravedigger smile. Wait, what exactly did you do? The graves? Of course I meant it. You've become quite good at cooking, really. That is a relief. You were not very good at all on this... You were not very good at all of this cooking malarkey in the beginning. You did not know how to handle a knife, nor how to peel a vegetable, and you cut yourself more than once. You bled into the soup on several occasions, but never once did you throw this solid soup out. The gravedigger lives a humble existence, and she cannot afford to waste her precious ingredients. Your soups during your stay have all been seasoned with the slightest hint of iron. Today's soup, however, is marked a step above all the rest. You did not cut yourself with a knife even once. Maybe your companion's compliments are not empty fluff. Maybe you really are improving. The ship should be ready to serve. I have some bread too that we can eat it with. But, oh, I should brew some tea too. Let me. I mean, yeah, you did threaten to spoon his eyes out. Ah, yes, the tea. You knew that you were forgetting something. You were so focused on soup, it must have slipped your mind. Your face flushes yet again at this oversight, and shyly you offer to correct it. The gravedigger, however, waves your request aside. No, it's alright. You made the dinner, so I'll brew the tea. It's only fair, and it won't take all that long. Bloody tasty, Con. It is. Like, I don't like mixing it with other things, but it is tasty. It's good. You should drink some more. Would you mind serving up the soup while I'm busy? Of course you would not mind. You do enjoy making yourself useful. She's gonna poison us. She's gonna put something into the tea and she's gonna poison us. Or make us fall asleep and then bury us alive. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. And they were roommates, indeed. Quite literally this time. For a lady, you are awfully domestic. You work alongside the gravedigger to finish your nightly meal, and together, you serve it. Soup and bread, alongside 2 cups of piping hot tea. Prepared by your hostess's own 2 hands. You sit together at the table, then partake in this simple fare, after saying grace. Oh, we do say grace here. Interesting. The soup... Oh yeah, I guess it makes sense because the church was nearby. The soup really is quite good, despite it being made from only the most commonplace of ingredients. There is a bit of kick to it, and it warms you from the inside out. The tea, meanwhile, is very soothing. So much so, it makes you feel rather sleepy. See? I told you! I told you! She's gonna murder us! You would like to sit with the gravedigger for a little while longer and tell stories, as you have sometimes in the past. That, or play cards. The nights are long, and there is no better way to pass them than spending time with her. Games of old maid, alas, will have to wait. You are too tired for it. You do not know what has happened, but after consuming your victuals, you feel utterly fatigued. You explain your predicament to the gravedigger between your yawns, and she nods in response. That's alright. You don't need to stay up with me. Not if you ain't up to it. You should head up to bed and rest the pretty head of yours. You do not think you are particularly pretty, but you presume that the gravedigger is just regurgitating a phrase to you. She does not truly mean it. How could she? She's far prettier than you are. You thank the gravedigger for her understanding, then rise from the table. You retreat to the spare bedroom on trembling legs, then change out of your clothes. You have only just slid into your nightgown when you hear the rapping of knuckles upon your door, light and unobtrusive. This rapping could of course belong to but one person. It is the gravedigger come to check upon you. I'm sorry, the gravedigger says, her voice soft, but you rushed out to your room so soon after eating, I couldn't help but worry about you. Would you mind if I took a look at you? I just want to see if you're alright. The gravedigger is trying to keep her voice steady, but you can hear it wavering regardless. She already does sound concerned, so much so, she could very well be on the brink of tears. You do not want her to cry for you. You would feel horribly guilty if you upset her, even inadvertently, given all that she has done for you. You bid the gravedigger enter into your room, therefore, without further delay, an invitation she hastens to take. The door swings inwards with a creak, and there your hostess stands, still attired in black, her clothes a stark contrast to your pure white, well, off-white, nightgown. She's way too excited. Yeah. The gravedigger looks at you, seated in bed with your hair freed from your usual braids, and exhales. Is that relief, you wonder, playing about her face? But why? What was she expecting to see, exactly, before entering your bedchamber? Thank you for letting me in, the gravedigger says, toying with her fingers. How do you feel? Not too terrible, you reassure her. There are no particular problems with your health. You just feel tired. Oh! Are you sure you're not sick? Your face does look a bit pale. That would be nothing out of the norm. You're always pale. Hey, true. Now, is there anything I can do for you? Would you like something warm to drink? Or maybe a hot brick to place in your bed? It should keep you warm. You appreciate your hostess's thoughtfulness, but you reassure her that this won't be necessary. You will be fine. I hope so. I thought it about my father too before he... The gravedigger begins, but her voice soon trails off. She does not finish that thought. She does not need to. You know, now, what she was thinking of, before she entered your bedroom. Cold, clammy skin. A sweating brow. Rank, oozing pustules. You think about these symptoms, which are eerily similar to those recounted during the Great Plague, which once beset your own country, and you shudder. If you don't want anything, then I'll be on my way, the gravedigger says. But before that... Before that? It was just a fancy on my part, but I was wondering, would you mind if I brush your hair for a little while? Your hair? That's right. It's such a pretty shade of red. So, I just thought... well, it's just a fancy, really. You don't have to let me, not if you don't want to, but I thought it might help you relax if you're feeling under the weather. I've heard it's supposed to be soothing. That is what the gravedigger says, but you have the distinct feeling that she is the one looking for solace here. She's going to hit us with a shovel. Did she? She probably did. Although, she did say that he wasn't looking at her and he wasn't moving. But I don't know if she actually waited until she made sure that he actually died. You're right. She probably did bury him alive. Oh no. She either put something in our tea to make us fall asleep, or we somehow caught something and we're gonna die, or because we are not feeling that well just yet, she's gonna think that we're actually sick and she's gonna bury us alive just to prevent it, or put us out of our misery sooner. She's not quite so selfless, perhaps, as she would like you to think. But she has been very good to you, and has done so very much for you, that you do not want to begrudge her this small self-indulgence. You rather think she deserves it. You agree, therefore, to her request, and, upon doing so, you are certain you have made the right choice. Your hostess's face lights up immediately, in a manner which makes you blush. Oh, thank you. It'd be my honor. Now, let me fetch my brush. The gravedigger retreats from your room in a hurry, but returns soon thereafter, holding in her right hand the promised brush. This artifact acquired, the gravedigger then settles herself upon your bed, by your side. She looks at your hair for a few moments, her expression pensive. Then, she announces that she will begin. If that happens, I'm taking all the credit. The gravedigger leans in. The wooden frame of the bed creaks under her weight, a creak which melts with the sighing of the breeze outdoors. You can feel the bristles of the brush running through your hair. It is soothing enough, so much so, it makes you shiver. The sensation is a pleasant one, and somewhat nostalgic. Did your mother do this for you, you wonder, when you were a little girl? If she did, it must have been when you were a very little girl. You have not seen your mother in quite some time, nor after you enrolled at the conservatoire. Oh, you have such lovely hair, dear one. It's soft, just like silk, not at all like mine. Mine is so coarse. The gentle voice draws you out of your vague, half-formed reminiscences. It sounds as though the gravedigger is lost in nostalgia of her own, because her voice, when she next speaks, is dreamy. I think my mother used to brush my hair like this for me, back when she was still alive. That must have been a long time ago, though. It is funny, you think, as the bristles of the brush continue to slide through your tresses, that you and the gravedigger should both be reminiscing in tandem about your respective mothers. Perhaps there is something maternal in the act of brushing one's hair which is wont to summoning forth such images. Can she brush my hair? Maybe, I don't know. I would not know personally. I cannot remember my own mother at all. No one remembers their mother in this one, huh? I don't think I like having my hair brushed very much, the gravedigger continues, her breath warm against the exposed nape of your neck. My mother used to complain that I screamed too much. I can remember that. Same, sis. She always told me to sit still, though. It wasn't my fault I squirmed. She used too much force. Now this is curious. It sounds as though the reminiscences of the gravedigger are not particularly fond after all. Did she not get along with her mother? I can't rightly say, the gravedigger replies, in a somber sort of a voice. I was young, like I said, when she died. I really don't remember her too well. But I don't think she ever had that much time for me. She was too busy with all the cooking and the cleaning. Oh, and looking after my baby brothers. But she had time enough, despite that, to brush your hair? She did what she felt she had to make me look presentable. Not that it really worked. I wasn't like that, like the other girls in the village, you see, who liked to sit indoors with their mothers and sew. I'd always loved the outdoors. My father and I inherited that from him. Ruefully, the gravedigger smiled. Not that you can see it with your back facing her. My mother said I wasn't very, well, maidenly. She didn't like that I always traipsed around outside after my father, watching as he dug graves. She said it wasn't appropriate, like I was some sort of a princess wearing a fine dress. The gravedigger snorts. I used to get a bit muddy, yes, and maybe I did get burrs in my clothes and knots in my hair, but it shouldn't matter. It's not like I had any hopes of marrying a prince, no matter what my mother said. But still, she hoped. She had a lot of hopes, my mother. High hopes. Had the high hopes for a living. I think she might have resented my father, maybe, while working such a menial job. Her profession is an honest one, but it's never made much money. I think my mother was hoping for fine jewels and dresses and... Oh, I don't know. She always had ideas. Her hair was full of fairy tales. It was a shame, I suppose, that her reality didn't match up to what she wanted. I didn't match up to what she wanted. The bitterness in your friend's voice is unmistakable. So much so, you want to console her. What would you say to her, though? You never met your companion's mother. You never will, either. Her cold, inert body has been lying in the graveyard buried beneath a tombstone for over a decade. You have no way of ascertaining whether your companion's mother truly cared for her. Well, she's really presentable to me. Con. Spray bottle, Con. Spray bottle. Down. You do have intelligence enough, however, to understand that poorly thought out condolences can cause more harm than good. You would not like if people tried to reassure you that of course your father loved you really. If he loved you, then why did he send you away from home? Why did he never send you any letters? You know he was worried about his finances, but that seems a poor excuse to pretend that his only daughter did not exist. As for your own mother, meanwhile, she was nice. At least you think she was, but she was willfully ineffectual. Though she was, nominally, an adult, she always cleaved before your father's judgment. You think that she was afraid of him. You do not try to tell the gravedigger, therefore, that her mother loved her, that she must have done, else she would not that she must have done, else she would not have given birth to her. Instead, you sit there letting the brush run through your hair, and you say, quietly, that you understand. Sometimes you feel like a disappointment yourself. Well, the gravedigger says after a pause, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I guess it happens to all of us. Kind of real down bad, haha. Okay, you know. Yeah, so you're also really down bad for the mermaid. Spray bottle. You guess so. Parents are only people after all. While one would hope one's parents would be kind and attentive, they, too, can fall victim to the caprices of their own. Just because one has brought a child into this world, it does not mean one will be able to take care of it properly. Not all parents are responsible, just not all people are responsible. It is a painful subject. Oh well, it's alright if my mother never liked me, or if she even never loved me. I know my father did, and that's all that matters. He was always there for me, no matter what. Your companion's voice catches in her throat. She winces. At least, until he wasn't. He died, and I didn't do a thing to help him. Your companion's shoulders are beginning to shake. You still cannot see her, but you can feel her body convulsing. You can sense her loneliness rolling off her in waves. It is all-consuming, like the waters of a deep, dark ocean. Grief anew pierces your heart, not on your behalf, but for the sake of your benefactress. She does not deserve to suffer so much. This you have no qualms with telling her. You turn to face her and pluck the brush, which had been hovering in the air, inert, from her fingers. Then you let her know that her father's death was not her fault. What could she have done? She could not have cured his illness. I know, but I can't help but think, what if? I keep racking my head over and over trying to come up with something. But I can't think of anything, and even if I could, it's too late. He's already dead. He's dead and buried. I buried him, and now I'm all alone. She might have been alone, you tell the gravedigger, but she isn't now. Not anymore. How can she be when you're there? I know that. I know and I'm grateful, but I don't know if I deserve it. Why would she not deserve your company? You do not understand. because I couldn't do nothing for nobody. My father always looked out for me when I was a little girl, but when he needed me the most, I failed him. I failed everyone. All of the villagers, all of my friends, all died. What would I do if the same thing happened to you? I don't think I could bear it. I don't want you getting sick too, not when I care about you so much. I thought I'd gotten used to being on my own, but now that you're here, it's making me worry all over again. I've been worrying so much I can't sleep from it. I'm scared. Your companion's voice catches in her throat. Then she collapses in on herself. She leans forwards, her arms wound about her middle, as if to steady herself, and she cries. Look, I think she's pretty and she's shy and sweet. She kind of my type. And she said, okay, to give her a hug. I think she's been the most compelling so far. Honestly. She cries, and she cries, and she cries. For a few moments, you look at the gravedigger, unsure what to do. Her pale face, streaked with silvery tears, seems to flicker in the candlelight. Her shoulders, which seem too slender to bear the accumulative weight of all the sorrow she has endured, are shaking. Your fatigue continues to cling to you, insistent as the fog which rolls amongst the tombstones in the graveyard at night. You are not so very tired, however. You cannot offer your hostess some comfort. You do not know what you can say to console her. You feel too worried to think of pretty sophisms. But there is one thing you can think of. You would not typically be so bold, of course, but you are tired enough, for once, to throw caution to the wind. That, and the tears of the gravedigger are awfully arresting. Oh. You open your arms. We got a Steam achievement! You open your arms, and, before the gravedigger can pass comment, you pull her to your chest. Oh. A soft exclamation escapes the lips of the gravedigger, quieter than the sound of a wintry snow as it brushes the ground. Then, there is nothing. The gravedigger is stiff in your arms for a few moments, like the corpses she and her father used to seal away inside their wooden coffins. She's all white eyes and awkward pointed elbows, tears still coursing through her pale cheeks. I'm dubbing her best girl. I mean, so far, yeah, I would agree with that, yeah. You worry, briefly, as you told her, that you have perhaps made a mistake. Were your attempts at consoling her too clumsy? You would not know. You have never been in a situation like this before. You have never consoled any friends before because you have never had any friends to console. It is not so now, however. You are as far away from your old life as it is possible to be, and the gravedigger does not curse you for your impudence. Neither does she try to scream away from you. Instead, she sits there, still as a statue, cradling your arms. Oh, I'm very sorry to show you something so embarrassing. It's just, I get so lonely sometimes. Until, at long last, with a breathy sob, she lets the full weight of her body fall against yours. You run your hands against your sobbing companion's shoulder blades, and her back, gently. You soothe her. You tell her that she does not need to apologize. There is no shame in crying. You hug her for many minutes, while she sobs against your chest, wetting the front of your nightgown. No further words pass between you that night, but they do not need to. Words are irrelevant in a moment as tender as this. Shared between two souls who have come to understand one another through mutual loneliness. You slide beneath your sheets. You still feel exhausted, and the gravedigger joins you without asking for permission. It would be an unnecessary piece of politeness, really, given your acceptance is all but assured. You have already accepted the gravedigger, after all. Every single inch of her. You have accepted her hospitality. You have accepted her food. Now, you are accepting her company. You arrange yourself beneath the sheets, then draw her body to yours. The gravedigger has not yet changed into her nightwear. Her clothes will be horribly rumpled when she wakes come the following morning, her head resting against your chest. But tomorrow has ceased to matter. It no longer exists. There is no concept of time between the two of you. No thought of the day which will dawn once the night inevitably ends. Instead, there is only the warmth shared between you, and the wetness on the cheeks of the gravedigger. There is the sound, irregular now, and less intense than before, of your companion's muted, muffled sobs. There is this gentle, tender moment, snatched in the midst of a deep, dark night, which can never be replaced. I am like sweating with anxiety right now because I have a feeling like this is such a nice moment and it's just gonna end very badly. I have this feeling. I have trust issues now. God. But that was very sweet. If I'm being honest, I was kind of joking at first about liking her, but now it's completely genuine. Yeah, she really is something. I'm sweating. I'm so anxious. And I feel like the accent that I've done for her is kind of getting to me. Like the way I speak. Hold on. There. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of clinging to my way of speaking. Speaking. Same. Welcome to having trust issues, buddy. But yeah, I'm like, even my palms were sweating. I was like, this is really sweet, but I have a terrible feeling that something awful is about to happen. The drop inexorably downwards, pulling you, like a drowning maiden, into the dark, impenetrable abyss of slumber. You yawn. Then you fall asleep, cozied up beside the gravedigger like two cats in a basket. Let's hope she doesn't get hungry and eat you. Maybe she won't really eat me, but I don't know why she would, but I have a feeling she's just gonna bury me alive. Welcome, Gobama. I know you've probably been here for a while, but nice to see you in chat. Oh my god, my palms are so sweaty. You sleep, and you sleep, and you sleep. More deeply than you have allowed yourself in quite some time. But when you awake, you find that you are no longer in the bed upon which you slept in, shrouded by sheets. I can hear her breathing. Her heavy breathing. The gravedigger, too, is nowhere to be seen. Instead, you are quite alone, lying by yourself in the dark. You blink, but your surroundings do not become any clearer. Is it the middle of the night? Perhaps you were roused from your slumber by the desire to relieve yourself, or else to slake your thirst. Your sleep has been awfully disordered as of late, and the smallest of noises have been enough to disturb you. That does not sound quite right, though. You slept well. Of that, you are certain. Your body feels invigorated as though it has slumbered for hours and hours. How many hours? You do not know. Why is the neighbor hammering right now? Stop! You do not know much of anything. You can feel a strange pinching sensation around your chest, however, and around your arms. I'm so sorry, Khan. I'm so sorry. I also wanted it to be like this very wholesome, beautiful thing, but I guess it's just not meant to be. It would appear as though somebody, but who else could it have been save the gravedigger, changed your attire while you were sleeping? That is a startling thought, but the darkness which entombs you is even more so. The darkness which surrounds you is unsettlingly complete. It is so thick, you cannot penetrate it. Your newfound woes do not stop, however, at this deep, unnatural darkness. It is cold too, and you are lying upon something hard. Some sort of a stone slab? What is going on? You reach out, but your movements are soon stymied. Stymied? There is something heavy laying atop of you, something that is limiting your movements. The trust issues triumph again. You were anxious before, upon awaking, but at this discovery, you feel downright aggrieved. A sharp prong of panic pierces you, but you try to suppress it. The heartbeat, oh my god. Hysterics will get you nowhere. In most cases, they only tend to make bad situations even worse. You ought to know that already. You swallow your mounting dread as best as you can, though it is coming on thick and fast, and try to squirm. You move your arms outwards, but they do not get very far. There is a wall above you, and walls on either side of you. Walls which do not budge no matter how hard you push. Not, I must add, that you can push particularly hard. Your anxious state notwithstanding. You have never had much in the way of upper body strength, nor lower body strength. You do not have much in the way of strength at all. You feel quite helpless as you lie there, out of breath from your meager exertions, unsure of what to do, you should do. You can hardly see a foot in front of your face. You do not know where you are, nor why, but a terrible premonition is beginning to bear down upon you, one which, initially, you tried to discard. You do not want to accept it as a possibility, but where else could the truth lie? You are lying in a box, hemmed in by the walls which offer only a scant few inches for you to stretch in any direction. Where else could you be but a coffin? The moment you allow yourself to ponder this awful reality is the moment you hear it, the irregular sound of drumming. It is as though somebody, though they must be a very large somebody, is tapping their fingertips upon the lid of your coffin. That, or it is raining. It is not the fingers of a giantess, though, which is disturbing you, nor is the falling rain. It's the dirt. This sound continues on and on, as though it is drilling its way inside your skull. It is relentless. It is merciless. Like the ticking of a great celestial clock, it cannot be stopped. Your time is almost running out. But you knew that already, didn't you? When you were running through the forest? You ought to have known, silly thing, that you could not outpace your destiny forever. So maybe we were right. Sooner or later, he would catch up with you. You're stubborn, though, and you do not want to accept this. Not content to simply lie there, you cry out. You cry, not for your parents, whom you hardly knew, nor for your school friends, for you never had any. Instead, you cry out for your new companion, the girl with whom you have been living, and with whom you shared one precious, cherished moment. I can still fix her. We're not dying, Soto. No, not if we can help it. Oh my god, okay. I actually felt the anxiety. I think this one has been like the most stressing one out of all the three of them. Because there was actually like the princess also had very nice moments. But again, she was very condescending. but she was genuinely nice to us. At least it seemed like it. And we had such a lovely moment together that it's like, man, why is she doing this? Why is she betraying us like this? You cry out for the gravedigger. Surely, this is some manner of mistake? Once she realizes that you are, in fact, entombed in one of the coffins she is currently filling, for who else would be moving the dirt above you, she will cease her operations at once. She will put you out of the darkness back into the world of living, and then she will hold you close. She will embrace you. Sam, this has been the best one. Glad we did it last. Yeah. I have a feeling that most people go with this one first, for some reason. But yeah. Thank goodness I decided to leave it for last. Man. She cannot mean to cause you any harm. Not when she was so good to you and so kind. Why would she bury you? You cry to her so loudly you fear your vocal cords might tear, all while banging against the roof of your compact prison. You cry, desperately, helplessly, and, to your relief, your cries do not fall upon deaf ears. The sound of the falling soil stops, albeit briefly. Then you hear a voice. The voice is very faint, given it's being filtered through your coffin's sturdy lid, but you recognize it. So you're awake then, are you, dear one? The gravedigger says. She sighs. Then she says, in a perplexed sort of a voice, Now that is a pickle. I was hoping you'd be asleep a couple of hours more, so the last time we spoke could have been on better terms. If you keep screaming like that, I'm going to feel bad. Your companion's words, though distant, are unmistakable. You are so tense. You are attuned to every single syllable, and each of them makes you gasp. Was this not a mistake then? Does she truly mean to bury you alive? You posed this question to the gravedigger as best as you can, trying to keep the tremors from your voice as you do. Perhaps, you think, in your optimism, that if you do not let her know how afraid you are, she will reward you for your bravery and let you go. If this is what you're hoping, though, it is in vain. That's right, you really do catch on quick. So it would appear that she really has committed to the task of burying you. What an unfortunate turn of events. Why, though, would she do such a thing? You thought that she was your friend. We are friends, the gravedigger says, her voice still worryingly offhand, worryingly empty. I'm very fond of you. There's nobody dearer to me than you. I had a really good time with you this last... How long's it been again? I don't remember. Neither do you. Well, if this little detail has slipped up both of your minds, it can't be all that important. You have other things to worry about. If you really are friends, you say to the gravedigger, then what does she hope to gain by burying you? You do not understand. But you understand her reply even less. Well, here's the thing, the gravedigger says, in a reasonable sort of a voice, as though burying somebody alive could ever be thought of as a reasonable action. I've been digging graves for a long time, see? You cannot see, it is too dark, but you affirm that you do all the same. Well, I was digging all these graves, but I have not had anybody to put them in. Not for ages. It was rather sad. So I was right? You think you know where this train of logic, twisted thought it is, might be going, so you do not interrupt her. You know no good would come of it. All you can do for the present is lie there and listen. I was thinking I'd never find another person to bury in this godforsaken village, not after the plague messed everything up. I was getting desperate. Until you came along, that is. Now that I have somebody I can bury, I'm not gonna let the opportunity pass me by. I'm sorry, but this is just part of my job. It's what my father taught me to do. It's all I know how to do. I buried my mother and I buried my father. I buried all my friends. Now I'm gonna bury you too. It is sound logic in a sense. As the daughter of a grave digger, digging graves is her job, but something about it rankles you. If only you could put your finger on it. Yes. There is a bit of a flaw in her reasoning, is there not? You are not dead after all. You might not be dead now, the gravedigger says, in response to your ingenuity, but you will be if given enough time. I mean, everybody else I've ever known has died. Who's to say you wouldn't be next? It seems rather more likely that you will die, and quickly, if she persists with her poorly thought out plan to bury you. Your coffin is not very large. It affords you precious little space. Eventually, if trapped within it for long enough, you will run out of oxygen. Then you will suffocate. That, or you will starve to death. Either way, your demise will be a slow, painful one. You are unsure which death will be worse, though given how precarious your situation is, you do not wish to expend the necessary energy needed to ponder on it. You need to plead with the gravedigger, and quickly, while she's still here. You tell her, tearfully, that you would not leave her. Why would you? You try to sound as convincing as your distorted nerves will allow, but the gravedigger remains unmoved. You say that, but how can I know you're telling me the truth? I thought you said you were a traveler. You never stay put in one place for long. You get sick of me before long, then you leave me. This way, at least, I can be assured that we'll always stay together. If I bury you like I did the others, we'll never be far apart. I even took care to put you in a nice spot, close to my home, so you're only stones away, really. Isn't that nice? Privately, you think that the gravedigger has a different conception of the word nice to you. You do not say this, however. You cannot say much of anything because the panic has begun to set in. It is choking you, stopping your throat so you can only cry. You scream. You beg and you plead, but it does little good. The gravedigger has already buried her mother. She has already buried her little brothers. She has even buried her father, whom she loved above all else. She thinks by burying you, she's doing unto you an act of great kindness. You think that she's going to kill you. In a sense, you're both right. Your opinions are so diametrically opposed on this matter, however, that you will never be able to find any common ground. You might as well save your screaming. She will not listen to you. She's beyond listening. Shush, shush, dear one, says the gravedigger, very gently, just as gently as she spoke last night, when she confided in you all of her fears. You won't be so bad, really. Nothing will be able to hurt you down there. It'll be just like going to sleep for a really, really long time. You can rest, and while you rest, I'll tend to you. I'll plant flowers on your grave. You'd like that, wouldn't you? This way, we can always be together. And I'll never be lonely again. While the gravedigger speaks, she begins to pile even more soil onto the roof of your coffin. The sound of dirt on top of you, on your arms, your legs, and your head, conceals your companion's final words. You cannot hear her. You cannot hear anything beyond the sounds of the dirt and the scrapings of the shovel, and your own desperate, frantic screams. You scream, and you scream, and you scream without cease, until your throat feels hoarse, but your efforts are in vain. You hammer on the lid of the coffin with as much strength as you can muster, but the lid of the coffin is nailed shut. You're in no position to remove it. All you can do is lie there screaming and crying and banging your fist on the roof of the coffin, over and over, as more dirt and debris falls upon you. Eventually, enough dirt falls on you to stifle your screams for good. The gravedigger can no longer hear you, and you can no longer hear her. You are all alone, trapped in a narrow wooden box, which, regardless of what you want, is now your new home. You can smell the soil in the backs of your nostrils when you inhale. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You can taste the eventual inevitable decay of your own body. you will remain trapped here, underground, forever and ever. Or, to use less melodramatic terms, until the last of your energy escapes you and you succumb to your own slow suffocation. It isn't a very pleasant way to go. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know? You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your ultimately demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace? Or will you try to fight against it? I mean, we have nowhere else to go, right? So... But still we have the option to fight against against our fate. So what if I fight? Are you not happy with the hand that fate has dealt you? Very well. I cannot blame you. It is quite a grim ending. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy. And you are rather dearer to me than that. Now, why don't we give this another go? Just try not to be buried alive this time. I can only endure so much of your screaming. Your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Give up? What? No, I refuse. I refuse. What do you mean give up? And there are no more save slots. I mean, I can always overwrite the last one later. Because I want to keep this one just to see like if something changes when you start with different stories. Okay, let's try. So, you've come back here, have you? That does not come as much of a surprise. Though presented with 3 potential paths, it is not as though traversing any of them would have any particular impact upon your ultimate fate. Well, we tried. Yeah, we tried. In the end, you were always destined to return here. Did you really think you had a choice? How hopelessly naive of you. I thought that you were smarter than that. Your breath, which once escaped your lips in sharp, ragged gasps, is now on the verge of pettering out altogether. Your lungs feel deflated, as though they had been punctured. Your blood is rushing through your temples in a heady, overwhelming surge. Your stomach, meanwhile, has twisted itself up in knots. Your body feels heavy, your legs in particular. They no longer wish to obey you. You take a stumbling step forwards, and your foot gets caught in a tree root. You are certain that you passed this root once already, and that you sidestepped it. But perhaps your memory is beginning to fail you just like the rest of your body. The witching hour, huh? Is it almost time for me to make my grand entrance? You gasp, surprised, and pitch forwards, dull and senseless like a sack full of potatoes. By the way, that was like a Steam achievement that appeared on my screen. Your arm hits the ground with a crack, one which makes you cry out in pain. Ah! Tears begin to beat on your eyes, wet and salty. Tears which you cannot stymie? You are not as resilient as the gravedigger, nor as carefree as the princess. If you lived underwater like the mermaid, then nobody at the very least would be able to tell that you are crying. But you do not. And I can. Believe me, I can. Your arm aches dreadfully, but at least you can still feel it. Your poor feet, meanwhile, have gone quite numb. You would try to stand had you the energy, but you know, as you sit there, dazed, that this would be a futile effort. You cannot stand, Not any longer. It hurts so much. Too much. You really have been through a lot tonight, haven't you? I fear I have not been very kind to you. But you ought to be accustomed to that hardship. Why then are you crying? You always have been a crybaby. That is why they teased you so much. It is because they knew they would be guaranteed a reaction. You are very predictable. Even now, after you tried to borrow my power for your own purposes, you have not changed at all. As you sit there, sobbing, you hear, or you think you can hear, footsteps approaching you. There, to your right, is the snapping of a twig. To your left, the telltale rustle of leaves. Your every sense feels razor sharp, honed to a knife's point by anxiety. You're so panicked, you feel as though you're going to be sick. If you want to vomit, then why not? There's no shame in it. There is nobody here to judge you. Nobody but me. I have always been here, you know. I will always be here, no matter how fast you try to run or how far. Did you really think you could escape me? Poor sweet child. Poor little fool. I did tell you, did I not? A contract with a witch is binding. No amount of physical distance between the both of us could ever sever it. I told you I would never let you be lonely, and I meant it. But I have had rather enough of these little games. It is time for me to collect my collateral. A soft gasp escapes your throat as you feel arms wind their way about your back. She has bones in her hair. Like the villager, the gravedigger. But I think all of them had bones in their outfits. So maybe she created all of them? Because the cannibal princess had bones on her crown and her jewelry. And I think the mermaid also had bones like in her jewelry. And the gravedigger had on her clothes, like the ones you can see on like this shoulder sleeve here. Here. I choked. On the sleeve here. And even like the little things that should be like light on her hair look kind of like bones. They're probably not, but they kind of look like it. And she has like something on her hair, like a not a ribbon, but something to like pull it like together in some way on her head, under her hat. She has bones there. Interesting. And it looks like her hair might be white. Or gray. Huh. Naturally, you know whose arms they are. They are mine. Hello, Amari, welcome. I have been watching you all night, but this is the first time I have reached out to you in so direct a manner. Did you not expect me to be so forward? I can hear your heart fluttering in your chest. It is beating very quickly, like startled rabbits. Your breaths are short and sharp. It is a cold night, and though I am holding you, you are still shaking. I wish you would not tremble so. Everybody fears the unknown, but we are not strangers. We have spoken before, have we not, when you first called me forward from the ether, using that book you found in the library? You were desperate enough then to turn to the occult for help. You pleaded with me to use my magic for your behalf. You begged me. You implored and you entreated and you wailed and you whined. And though I had some reservations, you forced my hand. I had no choice, not in the face of your desperation. You did not want to be lonely anymore. You wanted to have a friend, somebody who would always be there for you, no matter what. You wanted somebody to love you. Is that not what you demanded of me? Is that not what I had given you? You might think me wicked, but I think you are being awfully cruel yourself to run from me after I made all your wishes come true. I did think, you know, about punishing you for running away from me. I thought of poking out your eyes so that you might never see anybody other than me. I thought of cutting off your long, lovely hair so that nobody might ever think of you beautiful but me. I thought of breaking your legs so that you may never be able to escape from me. I turned all of these intriguing ideas over in my mind, but I am a merciful witch. Though you hurt me, I did not wish to hurt you. You asked, after all, that I love you, and that is what I did. I have drowned you in my love. I have buried you beneath my love. I have swallowed you with my love. You have always been a sad, lonely girl, one who has been starved of affection. Nobody has ever cared for you. Your life has been a barren, empty wasteland, one devoid of any fonder feelings. That is why I had to drown you, you see. That is why I had to bury you. It is why I had to swallow you. In the end, I was doing you a favor. I was doing it all for you. In that sense, you're very lucky. Do you know that? There are few people in the world who have had the privilege of being loved to the brink of insanity quite as many times in one night. So she was all of them. Interesting. So maybe my bone assumption is correct. There are few people in the world who can claim to have been loved by a witch. You have experienced so much love, it ought to have slaked even your unquenchable thirst. You know, now, what it feels like to be adored. I have more than upheld my end of the bargain. Now, I think it is time that you do the same. From this night forth, you and I will always be together. Then, I shall be able to love you endlessly. You will never be lonely again. I like her outfit. My, that was something. Okay, so it was all the witch. We were never really escaping her. She was just playing with us. Huh. An egg? Odd. I don't know what to say about it. Okay, let me just load the other save files. Wait. She got rid of all my files. What? Load? She disappeared all of my files. What? What if I skip the text? Deja vu. Haven't you been here before? We got another... Oh. You can start over? Oh my god. Wait, no, stop. Where is it? I don't want to go in automatic mode. Skip. You're running through a forest. But this shouldn't come as a surprise to you. You've been here before, haven't you? He's beginning to feel like you have been running for a long, long time. But the sun, despite the overwhelming weariness which assails your legs, has yet to rise. Why, I wonder, could that be? You are sure, as you run, that you have seen this already. You have seen the fractal pattern of the moon's milky glow as it spills up on the uneven forest floor, and the trees which jut out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god. You have seen wicked brambles which sought to ensnare you, and, I might add, succeeded, and tree roots hooked like the choppy fingers of witches far older than I, which sought to trip you. You have cut your feet. You have torn your skirt. You have taken numerous paths, yet they all ended in failure. Once, you had hope. Now, it is gone. You have already given it to me. So why are you still running? Silly girl. Did you really think you could escape from me after all I have subjected you to already? There is no use in trying to escape from my embrace. And if I may be so bold, I am hurt that you even attempted. Were you not happy with me? I was happy with you. But no matter. You are a stubborn little chit. And perhaps you think that things will be different this time around. That is why you began to run. I can see, despite the fear in your eyes, that your resolve has not burned out. Not just yet. No, it is not the same opening. She's actually, like, at the beginning, when we started, she never presented herself as the witch. She never told us who she was. She was just like, oh, you're running away from someone, but who? I wonder. She was just a narrator. She never told us who she was. And she's mentioning that the things that we have already been through. So she's aware that this is our second run. Somehow. A spark of it still remains. A spark that I mean to extinguish for good. It is pointless, you know, trying to escape from a witch's curse. In this forest of phantasmagoria, constructed from my own powers, I am a creator goddess, Mother Earth, if you will. It does not matter how quickly you run, trampling the tall grass and the loose leaves and ugly spotted mushroom underfoot. I still have you right where I want you. In the palm of my hand. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. I said that before that happened, okay? I just read it. Buried, swallowed, drowned. I would not let you get away that easily. But very well. If you insist on playing this little game, then I will indulge you. I will play along. We can do this all over again. Now, where were we? Oh yes. You're still running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is black as pitch. There is nothing to light your way, save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you. Not properly. Okay, she already said this. You cannot see where you're going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, though, it would be of little use. You do not need to know where you're going. You have no map, no route, no plan. How can I skip, by the way? Wait. You cannot let yourself be caught. Though it is too late, I suppose, for that. You have no choice, therefore, to keep going. On and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You run, and you run, and you run, until at long last, oh, you reach for a fork in the road. There are 3 paths. Well, if you count the path that you came. Yeah. But twice. I don't mean to confront me. How can you when you're so very afraid? Okay, I haven't read that. You have put all that effort after all into running forwards, not just once, but twice. I doubt you mean to confront me. How can you, when you are so very afraid? I can hear your teeth chattering, you know? I can see your legs trembling. Your fear rolls off you in waves, more potent than any perfume. Your anxiety is truly staggering. It is a wonder, really, how you are able to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You will keep putting your feet in front of the other, though, no matter which decision you make. You will not turn back. How could you? You are far too cowardly. Now, the 3 paths are signposted, as well you know, which would be a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. But you ought to be used to these strange sights by now. It is dark, but that does not matter. You have seen the signposts before, and you know full well where each path will lead you. I would say that your fate is in your hands, but you and I both know that is incorrect. Your fate, and always has been, mine to manipulate. Must we really go through this rigmarole again? You won't discover anything new, you know. The mermaid, the gravedigger, and the princess will not deviate from their scripts, which have already been prepared for them. I did not, in all honesty, think to furnish any further responses for them. I did not think you would be seeing them again. But no matter. If this is what you want, I shall provide it for you. Go ahead. Throw your life away. Again, and again, and again. Be drowned by love. Be buried by love. Be consumed by love. Then, when you have had enough, and you can no longer stand, submit yourself, once again, to my embrace. And let yourself experience the love as precious few humans have ever before had the misfortune of experiencing. So it still only gives me the 2 options. Huh. Okay, new idea, try to fight her. I don't think we can. Can we? Okay, let's try doing them all in order again. So you want to go to the castle? Good idea. Okay, let's try to see. It's skipping everything that I've already read, supposedly, if my things are correct. Only the red text. Yes. Okay. So, let's see. Okay, the skipping. Because we've already been through this. I just want to see like how fast will this go. Because we never really have options to talk to them properly. Yeah, you see, so she has a crown like full of like some kind of like bones and her earrings as well. And I think the witch had something like that on like her cape or something similar. And she also, like the princess also has them on her like arms, on the sides of her arms. I wonder why she's running away from the witch always. Like, she says she loves her, albeit in a very weird way. But she's making her experience all of these things because she's running away from her. So, I wonder why she is running away from her. Like, is she actually hurting her, or is she just scared because she summoned like an eldritch being and now she doesn't know what to do about that? I don't know. The blood when she pricks her finger. Not all love is healthy. Yeah, I know, but I wonder like, I feel like she's putting her through this as a punishment and a way to make her like not run away from her. But what I wonder is exactly what exactly she was doing that she decided that she would run away from her instead of staying with her, even though she asked for it. You know? So maybe the phrase "it gets so lonely here" is actually something the protagonist said, and not like, and that's why the witch is using it on her tales. Oh, not the biting. I hated that. Okay, so we're gonna save this one. I mean, there's really no point in this first one. I'm gonna keep it for now, but there's technically no point in that one. What happens if I accept my fate? Because that's what I wanted to see earlier. But she deleted my files, so I can no longer do that. So let's see. I just want to see, and then I'll go back and continue. Yes, I thought you might say that. Though you once summoned forth the courage to persevere, despite the odds, your strength has begun to fail you. You are tired now, and this is more than you can endure. Being eaten alive not just once, but twice, is more than any ordinary human could ever hope to endure. And you, though headstrong, are nothing more than a little girl. Why are you so very slender? You might as well be a fair flower. I can see how weary you have become. But worry not. I will still be here for you, even though you might be bleeding out in a dark, dingy dungeon. I shall never leave you. We did make a contract after all. The world might have forsaken you, but I never will. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. A love that consumes. Oh, so it just takes you back to like the title screen. Okay. Like, if I'm being honest, a relationship with the gravedigger would only be my second worst relationship. Oh boy, that doesn't sound good. Like, the text now changes because we've already been through this. But I wonder what the narrator would say on the first go, you know? Fight against your fate. Oh? You wish to keep going, do you? That is impressive, given this is the second time you have been devoured so heartily. Of all the demises you have experienced, this one is the most gruesome. If you had tired of these repetitions, I would understand. I am not the wicked witch you might think I am, and I would be willing to show you mercy should you want it. But I can tell you do not want it. Goodness me, you're stubborn. Why, I ask you, did you continue to fight? Online dating is a minefield, okay? Yeah, that's why I don't do that. That's why I'm like, nope. There is no escape for you, you know? I will never let you leave, no matter how you struggle. But very well. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands, or so I once told you. You ought to know now, however, that this was never truly the case. You still belong to me. I am not going to let you get away from me. Not that easily. You can struggle as much as you want, but it will be in vain. It does not matter where you go. I will always find you. I can promise you that much. Okay, let's do it in the same order. And skip everything. Such a shame that Soto's no longer here because she would be thrilled to see the mermaid again. And get drowned by the mermaid again. I have a feeling. Also, it's been 3 hours. I actually thought about ending the stream, but since this allows me to skip, I just want to see if after the second try we actually get like a different ending, the good ending or whatever, or if we actually have to keep going. If we have to keep going, then I can Oh, this is different. I wonder if we can keep going. I mean, if we have to keep going, then I would save it for another stream, but I want to see. You wonder during your descent if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down to the rocks below. Well, if that is what it wants, then you refuse to give it the satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and now is one of them. Why did it stop there? Weird. There is a mermaid. She's so pretty. But she also has like bone stuff on her. Like a bracelet and the thing on her arm. And there's one that is like kind of shaped like a moon. And her earrings. So they all... It had caught my attention that both her and the princess had those things. But I guess it made sense with the... what's the name of it? The grave digger, because, well, she buries bodies, and bodies have bones, and oftentimes corpses are represented by bones, so I don't know. Shut up, Con, you like the grave digger. I was friends with my current girlfriend for a year and a half before agreeing to our relationship. Yeah, that's for the best, honestly. It's still a bit hard, at least for me, unless you've like met the person at least once IRL. Because people can be very different from IRL to online. But yeah, it is always like the best thing to first get to know each other without like any intentions of dating, at least in my point of view. And then maybe seek a relationship from there, because then now you know if you guys are like somewhat compatible or very compatible or not at all and stuff. Okay, we're getting drowned now. Great. And then she's like... I'm just gonna choose the give up option to get like maybe another Steam achievement, because I have a feeling every time you give up you also get a new achievement. But I didn't back then because I wanted to keep going. So let's... Actually, no. Well, I already did it, but I'm gonna overwrite that one later then, because... Oh, shoot. No. Load. I wanted to accept my fate. Accept your fate. Yes, I thought you might say that. But that feels like a lifetime ago. Perhaps it is. You're tired now and you want nothing more than to succumb. I cannot say that I blame you. I can see how tired you are, dear one. But worry not. I will still be here for you, even if you are to spend your days languishing at the bottom of the ocean. I shall never leave you. We did make a contract after all. The world might have forsaken you, but I never will. I will never leave you. Okay. You will never be lonely again. Yeah, we got a new achievement with the fishes. Huh. So it's best to first like accept our fate and then try to keep fighting. Just because I'm a completionist and I want the achievements. Okay, let's load and fight against your fate. You still wish to soldier on, do you? That is remarkable, given this is the second time you have been pulled beneath the ocean's surface. I would have thought that you would want to give up by now. But no matter. You really are stubborn. I cannot promise a better fate than this awaits you regardless of what you may choose, but I am willing to indulge you. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is now in your hands. At least, that is what you once thought. You and I both know, however, that this never was the case. Not now that you belong to me. How much longer can you keep resisting, though? I cannot wait to find out. Okay, go to the village. And skip. And now we experience everything we had just experienced like 2 hours ago. Nice. Trust me, if she's tricking me, she's doing a horrible job. I know way more about her. Okay. I really like her design though. And I'm realizing that the only bone thing in her outfit are her sleeves. Everything else looks pretty normal, except maybe her like white grayish hair. Hey girl, how you doing? Con, spray bottle down. She's the same person anyway. And she also has this necklace thing. Oh, on her like cloak thing on the neck, she also has like bone clasps on it. And also she has like this necklace thingy that looks like the like a bottle of something, and the cap looks like a witch's hat. It might not be, but it kind of looks like one. So there are many hints in their designs that they are the same person, or at least they like are related to the same concept. Interesting. I think this is now the point where we share our lovely, interaction that then turns into, you know, sadness because we were having such a nice time together and then she ruined everything. Also, I don't remember if the princess has blue eyes, but both the mermaid and her have blue eyes. Maybe not necessarily the exact same color of blue eyes, but they both have blue eyes. So maybe that's also like a hint. But I don't remember if the princess has blue eyes. And they always say that our character's hair is red, but it always looks pink to me. If you and Soru can simp for the mermaid, I can simp for her. Okay, so let's save here. Yes, I'm gonna overwrite it because it doesn't matter anyway. And we're gonna accept our fate for now. You might have defied me once before, but I can see that fire has long since begun to leave your eyes. You have been subjected to many horrors for one so young. Though, even if you were of a more advanced age, I fear your faculties would have begun to fail you regardless. Humans are not meant to die as many times as you have. They are supposed to pass on only once. You have experienced something few others have. In that sense, you are quite fortunate. But I suppose it does not feel like it. I can see how very tired you are. But worry not. I will still be here for you, even though you have been shut away far too soon inside your own tomb. I shall never leave you. We did make a contract after all. The world might have forsaken you, but I never will. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Down in the boneyard, there we go. 10 feet deep. Okay, let's maybe possibly get the true ending. Okay, load. This one. Fight against your fate. My. This is certainly unexpected. I had rather thought after everything you have been subjected to, you would no longer wish to continue this farce. I watchfully prepared for you to forfeit yourself at long last to my loving embrace. I am ready to embrace you, should you so desire it, and cradle you within my unsatiable affection. Unsaleable, sorry. But it seems you are not ready to submit. Not quite yet. Being buried alive twice over has not been enough to diminish your determination. You still wish to fight against me, as if you have any hope of succeeding. Your efforts are all futile. Do you not know that? I am far stronger than a skinny human like yourself could ever begin to contemplate. You would be better served if you gave in. But perhaps I have not loved you effusively enough. Not just yet. If you are to learn anything, I must first bid it into your thick skull of yours. Will you listen to me then? I only want what is best for you, you know? Hurting you hurts me too. But if that is what you want, so be it. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Oh no. Your fate is in your hand, at least that's what you might think. You and I both know, however, that is what... And I will never let you forget that. Now, continue to struggle. Do your very best. It will not work. But it should be entertaining, if nothing else. How would it be entertaining if you give up? Question mark? Oh, that's different. But anyway, how would it be entertaining if you are like, hurting you hurts me too? There, you see? Are you happy now? I told you that there was no use in repeating this night, yet you failed to listen. You have it drowned, buried, and consumed once more. And for what? Do you feel as though you have made any progress in your attempts to escape from me? Once again, you find yourself as you were at the end of your last foray into my forest full of nightmares. You are kneeling upon the ground, your feet aching. Perhaps they are bleeding, and your skirt tattered and torn. You try to inhale, but it hurts. It feels as though your lungs have been punctured by a pair of embroidery scissors. When you swallow, you can taste salt upon your tongue. You blink, but it is so very dark in these woods you fear you cannot see. There is a heavy, laden weight upon your shoulders. It feels as though somebody is shoveling soil upon you. Your body is cold, as though it has been sapped of all warmth. Your blood, which ought to flow through your veins, feels as though it has frozen. That, or it has been purged from your body altogether, in just red goblets. Wait, I just realized Soto knows that I like the Gravedigger. Oh no. See? I mean, everyone who watches this bot will know. Hurting you hurts me is the mentality of an abuser. I mean, true. But why entertainment? Have you not had enough of this now, silly thing? I am saying this for your sake, you know, just as much as mine. Though I might have trapped you hence, I did it only because I care for you. I want only for you to realize the folly of your ways. Now, cease your foolish attempts to escape. They will accomplish nothing save stretching your mind beyond its limitations. It has already, I fear, been stretched thin already. Humans are not designed to die, not as incessantly as you have. One death would be enough to finish most of your kind of, yet you have endured 6 of them. You do not want to go through that again, do you? Then do not run from me. Let me console you. Let me embrace you. Let me love you. Girl, let me love you. Sorry. What did you say to that? We haven't... Well, we don't really have an option, but... Let's save anyway, just in case. Hey, Leo, please. There we go. Cat got your tongue. Well, no matter. You will not need your tongue to speak while we are together. It is a necessary appendage, however much you might wish, one day, to whisper sweet nothings to me. I am an all-powerful witch after all, and I can hear all of your thoughts. I know what you're thinking. Yes, that is right. Silence is golden, as they say. You do not need to speak. You do not need to blink. You do not even need to breathe. Now that you are finally mine, I will cut off your tongue, and I will pluck out your pretty little eyes, and I will... No. I beg your pardon? What was that, dear one? Defiance! Don't look at me like that. I said no. I am not your dear one. I never wanted this. What? You would defy me still after all you have endured? Were 6 deaths not enough for you, you gluttonous girl? Do you wish for more? I just wished for a friend. I didn't want to be lonely. But you ensnared me. You tricked me. Well, I never. What bold accusations. They are not true though, you know. They are bold-faced lies. I did nothing of the sort. My name might begin in a similar fashion, but I am not Mephistopheles. I was very upfront when we first met. I said, if you wish to make a contract with me, it would cost you. It is your own fault that you did not listen. You accepted my terms, and now you're paying the price. Now, if you will come with me, my dear. Yeah, but she's the artist and I scared what she could potentially do with those skills. I guess. Hell yeah, yeah, she's standing up for herself, finally. That's it, get away from that abuse, yes. I am not your dear. Really now? This has all become rather tiresome. I must insist that you cease this childish outburst at once, or else. Or else what? Will you cut off my tongue? Will you pluck out my eyes? You already stole my name. But it's coming back to me. What? No, that shouldn't be impossible. You gave your name to me. You gave your soul to me. You pledged your heart and your body to me, and now I want them back. I'm tired of these games too. Media. You remember my name? I do now. You're called Media, and I... No, stop it! I'm called Rosette. Makes sense because of her hair. It can't be. I knew you were stubborn, but... I learned how to be stubborn. I'm used to being bullied. You're just like the others. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You took everything from me. And now, I'm taking it back. No, you can't. Rosette, please. Don't go. Don't leave me. We made a contract, you and I. You said that you wanted a friend, and I promised to be that friend. I promised that I would always be there for you. Do you really mean to abandon me? That was their general idea. And what of me? What am I supposed to do? You? You can rot for all I care. What? No, Rosette! I call after you... I call after you're retreating back, but you did not hear my words. You did not turn your head. Once, it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. You were so vulnerable then, and you were so very, very beautiful. In a perverse way, however, I think you might look even more beautiful now that you're walking away from me. That is a thing you humans say, is it not? You never realize just how much you value something until you no longer have it. It does not hold true in my case, however. I knew you were a precious find when you first summoned me. Your fiery determination, even in the face of extreme hardship, endeared you to me. I thought you were very novel, really, how you had survived for so long in an environment which was so very hostile. For a human, I thought you remarkable. That is why I decided to form a contract with you. I thought, with a human like you by my side, my own life of empty, endless wandering may not be so lonely. Goodness me, I must be growing sentimental in my old age. Now, you are not the one upon the ground. It is I. I could keep calling for you, but I know it would do no good. You will not turn back from me now, not when I have caused you so much suffering. I did not mean to hurt you so, though. I truly did love you, albeit in my own way. In the end, however, I suppose the love of a witch was too much even for you to endure. Now, there is nothing but the milky moonlight and the trees which jut out of the earth about me. They look like monuments built in the honor of a foreign god. They look like nothing from the world that you knew, Rosette. Because they are not of your world. They are of mine. Now you have fled from me, like a bird let loose from its cage. I fear I will never see you again. I will be on my own in this forest for all eternity. Or until another silly little girl with stars in her eyes and dreams in her heart summons me once more. It has happened a handful of times in the past. It might one day happen again. Until that day, however, I will lie here among the foliage and the fog, and I will close my eyes. I will let myself dream. And rubbed in the undulating mist, I shall think to myself, it gets so lonely here. Huh. Interesting. Well, she's a minor, you can make contracts with them, so I can weirdly relate to this, kinda. Not necessarily, maybe on friendships, yes, but... And there are no... So the story continues. I want to continue, but it's been almost 3.5 hours. Title. Close this. Because if we start again... It is just her. The curtain closes. Okay, let's do this quickly. Because I was thinking maybe we can leave this for another stream, but I fear that it's gonna be like short. So let's power through this, okay? To finish it today. I am sitting in a forest. It is late at night, and the sky is as black as pitch. There is nothing to light my way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach me, not properly. The trees which surround me, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. If I were running, I would not be able to see where I was going. But such concerns are trivial to me. There is nowhere, after all, for me to run to. I am all alone. You have abandoned me. You made a contract with me when you wished for a friend. It was a contract I would fulfill upon my good name. But you betrayed me. Oh, Rosette, why did you have to go? My days were intolerably dull and tedious without you to amuse me. Your company slaked my boredom nicely, but now that you have gone, that boredom has returned for full. It is so consuming, I fear I might go mad from it, if I have not, granted, gone mad already. If only there was another mortal out there, one who might keep me company. If only. Footsteps. Oh? Perhaps I spoke too soon. It would seem that another has intruded upon my moonlit solitude after all, far more quickly than I was expecting. How very fortuitous. Well met, stranger. Does the moon not look beautiful tonight? Why, it is almost as if our encounter were preordained by a being far greater than the both of us. But that, of course, is a foolish thought. There are a few beings out there more powerful than myself. Now then, would you care to create a contract with me and relive the events of this night anew? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save this for another stream. We do have a slot specifically for this, because I thought it might go longer. And it seems... Oh, but I don't know. I kind of don't want to look it up, because I feel like I'm gonna spoil myself, but... Okay, let's... What if I don't make a contract with you? Oh, do you not wish to stay with me, Tier 1? Very well. You are awfully cruel, but I can understand how you feel. I am a benevolent witch, regardless of what some people might say, and I would never force you to do anything. Not against your will. My love is, and always has been, reciprocal in nature. Though she did not appreciate that. She did not. Now, if that is all, would you like to run along? No good can come, you know, of soliciting with witches in the dead of night. You had best be on your way and quickly. Otherwise, I might just change my mind. After all, it gets so lonely here. And that's the name of the achievement, huh? Wait, didn't you make a joke in the first stream that I was a rival to the narrator? Did I? I don't remember. Oh yeah, because they are the intrusive thoughts. The witch is the intrusive thoughts as well. It didn't save. What? Come on, stop erasing my files. Oh, are you still here? I thought that I had already sent you on your way. You certainly are a stubborn child. That, or you are a very cruel one. To take delight in my suffering as you are. No, let's just stand there. If there's something you wish to tell me, I would bid that you tell it. Have you reconsidered my earlier offer? I just want to see. Like, she's probably gonna erase my files again, but if I don't make a contract again. Oh? Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Ah, she erased it. Oh well. I will battle with the witch. Okay, let us continue then. Okay, make a contract. Very good. Now come to me, dear one. You are lonely too, I can tell. The scent of loneliness positively rolls off you, much like the mist in the early morning. Oh, come, don't look so surprised. It was not at all a difficult guess. Why else would you be spending time with me? Had you anything better to do with your time? Entertainment. We are all lonely here. In that sense, we might not be so very dissimilar, you and I. Though I might be a witch and you a human, I am no stranger to the complicated emotions of your kind. I was a human myself, once upon a time. Though it was a very, very long time ago. Now, come to me, and I shall tell you a story. Will tell you a story of a girl running through the forest without ceasing. A girl entrapped in a patchwork fairy tale world with no beginning and no end. My story will unravel, unbroken, from now until the end of time. And if you allow yourself to be submerged within it, we need never be lonely again. So is history gonna repeat itself but with me? Oh, it's loading. Oh my god. Oh! The game closed. Hello? I'm just now realizing that it's raining outside. The game closed. Hello? Game? What are you doing? Why is it not opening? Failure. What? Oh. Oh, it is. Okay. It started over? What? Was that it? Like Undertale, yeah, but it looks like it started all over again. Like it, as if it had like a true reset, but on its own, because I didn't do that. Hold on, let me open. Let's go to the room quick, just for a little bit. I want to open Steam and see if there's more, because that was very interesting. Because I have no load files, obviously. And we have 10 out of 12 achievements. Interesting. Huh. And it seems like the achievements we're missing are the ones from the beginning. Like from the first story. And it doesn't let me skip, so it's like the whole game got reset. Huh. So that was really it. That's the end of the game. Rosette goes away and the witch is all on her own. And then you just repeat the cycle if you accept her offer. And everything just starts all over again. Huh, interesting. I was honestly not expecting that. Huh. That was very interesting. Like, I don't know how I feel about that ending, because it's very abrupt and it doesn't really give you many answers as to why Rosette had the life she had and accepted this contract, and why the witch is doing this and is as lonely as she is. But but it was good. I really liked it. I really liked that twist of like having to do it twice and fight against the witch. Well, then we managed to beat it in a little bit shorter than I expected, like after we went through the second loop. I thought we were gonna be there for a while, but thank goodness I didn't stop there, I guess, because that would have been very awkward. But yeah, man, that was good. So that was It Gets So Lonely here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I don't know what else to say. I'm honestly very like dumbfounded, but in a good way, you know? And this game is for free, chat, on Steam. Can you believe it? If you can, please play it yourselves, because it was really good. I really liked it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say, honestly. I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, it's been 3 hours and a half, so I do really need to end now. So next stream is gonna be on Tuesday as well, I believe. I got a waifu and the relatables from this. I don't know if I want this to be very relatable. I don't like that idea, honestly. But man, that was so good. But anyway, yeah. Who's the best girl? Go. The putting aside the whole murderer's intent at the end, the graveyard girl. The graveyard girl is the best girl, followed by the mermaid, and then last the cannibal princess, because I just didn't like her attitude. Even though she kind of acted kindly, it's just meh. She was pretty, but meh. A little bit of the same case with the mermaid, but she wasn't as bad at the end, even though she drowned us. And the other girl, she was nicer, even though she ended up doing that at the end. I feel like she was the best girl out of all three of them, even though they are technically the same girl. So, but yeah. Anyway, I think next stream is gonna be on Tuesday, if I remember correctly. Let me just check my community post. with the schedule. I didn't make a community post with the schedule. What the heck? What? I thought I did. Okay, let me go to the Discord server then. This wasn't meant to be, but now I'm making it a plug for you guys to join my Discord server, because there I also upload the streaming schedule. I think I uploaded it to my Twitter and then I forgot to do it to the community post, so I'm gonna do that later, I guess. Stream schedule. Yeah, next Tuesday we have Nekopara. We are gonna try to finish that in one stream, and if we can, then the stream on Wednesday has no game attached to it, and that's because I wasn't expecting to finish this today, so I was gonna save that, like the ending of this for that day, but I guess that's not the case anymore. If we don't finish Nekopara on Tuesday, then that would be the game that we would be playing also on Wednesday. But if we do finish it, then I'll maybe continue Undertale or something else. But yeah. Sorry, I choked again. I feel like I'm going to get bullied over liking her on Discord. Who knows? Honestly, who knows? Shouldn't be the case, really. But anyway. So yeah, next stream is on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm still not sure when the next cover is gonna come out, because I'm really stacked with work right now. So I'm gonna try my best to make it to like Sunday, but if not, then it's probably gonna be out again during somewhere along the week. So yeah. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here and giving me a couple of your hours. I hope you had fun. I did. That was really good. And I will be seeing you next time. Okay? Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, that was so good. Man. I will try to take breaks, Con, but that might not be possible until December, given how everything's looking, so wish me luck. Anyway, bye-bye.